Well, a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Flight Deck to Sim live stream today, the 12th of May 2021. 33 minutes past 4 here in the afternoon in the UK, back at Explain 11. And today we've got a super special approach for you. We'll be flying for the first time to Carcassonne in the southeast of France, where we'll be attempting a circle to land approach. It's been a very, very long time since we've actually done a circle to land approach based off my operator's SOPs. Carcassonne, very well known for flying these approaches. In fact, I didn't realise they actually have an RNAV approach now onto one of the runways, so you can't actually... We don't really actually do a circle here anymore, but never mind, we'll still be able to replicate that in the simulator today. Flight time around 1 hour 40 minutes with a pre-release version of the ZIBO MOD 737-349 final. Tested earlier, all seems hunky-dory, and I'm looking forward to this sector today. Who we got then? We've got Mark King. Good afternoon, Captain. Hello to you. Bluebear 1873 says good evening from, I think that's Bournemouth. That code, can't remember. Gintaras, hope you're doing well. He says, hi guys. We'll try to watch on the phone. You'll need supervision to be able to watch that, Gintaras. Craig Anderson's here, says afternoon all, hope is well, 2 tons of love as well. Joseph Mistizzle, good afternoon everybody, says good afternoon to you. 2 tons of love, time to turn off the Japan Airlines relaxing music channel and focus on the stream, absolutely. This scenery from Bristol 108 Pilot Plus, it's their most recently updated version. Sits really nicely on the Orbex True Earth there. Looks really nice. Explain 11 at the moment. Looks really, really cool. Ben Matthews, brilliant. Hope the weather's nice where you are. Not too bad here in the UK. Weather for the stream should be nice. It could be quite windy over in Carcassonne later on this evening. Be quite interesting to see what happens there. Mac Dude UK said, right at the start, Carcassonne is the only place I experienced to go around a GA plane on the runway, according to the captain, but I suspect he wasn't stable at the minimum as well. As a passenger, you could only ever speculate. I've done go around as passengers, and you never know what could be the reason, but I think Carcassonne has a lot of GA traffic, so it's very likely that was the reason for the go out there. Could be quite windy there as well. Passos has the routing there. Yep, there we have it. We've got ATC here on VATSIM 2, so looking forward to getting some great ATC here. We'll do a complete cold and dark setup as well. If you are interested, if you head over to my Instagram today, you'll see I've made a little diagram with all the tracks and timings I'll be using for the circle to land approach. I'll be covering today a full approach briefing on how we apply the circle to land procedure at my operator, but it's a procedure that is dying out because of RNAV. Everyone can now fly these accurate RNAV approaches. They can build complex approaches like not like they could do 10 years ago, so it'd be great to replicate today there. John Padfield, no Airbuses flying along tonight. No, it looks like only, well no, there's an Airbus right at the top of the screen. I can see it just taxiing out to runway 27, but I'm probably going to be flying the Beluga next. Looking forward to flying that already. Madeira plane spotting, hope you're doing well. He says fantastic. Stu Joe says US Airways, he's definitely lost, absolutely. Laura V loving the Cactus 321 on the taxiway, long frame away from home, definitely a little bit lost there. Raphael says I'll ask if anyone wants to open, I think that's Border Approach, which is covering Carcassonne for you. That's very kind to offer there. I won't need ATC necessarily in Carcassonne because it's a procedural approach into that airport. There's no radar there anyway. Awesome then, so let's get the show on the road here from stand 22 in Carcassonne. That's the end of the intro song there. Excellent, try to make it sound very cool. Right, batteries on, GPU's on the bus, electric hydraulic pumps coming on. Landing gear lever is down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green lights, but then check all the aircraft documentation. Excellent news, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going flying very soon, and not just a 10-minute ghost flight. I'm actually taking some passengers at the end of the month. I won't disclose publicly where I'm going. It is in Spain, and it's very likely to be a very empty flight, but yes, right, in a few weeks time, 3 to 4 weeks, I've got my first passenger flight of the year. Really looking forward to that as well. So I'll be probably streaming a few more sectors in the ZIBO mod. In fact, what I did this morning, I did a full setup following my company's SOPs, reading the manual. Obviously, as a captain, we know what to do it, but I like to go over it again in detail in preparation for that. It's super exciting for me as well. MedMike, later is upcoming a stream from a 737 pilot in Germany again, called 737NG World. And I think he's a colleague from the same airline. Might be MedMike, but again, I can't speculate, and I don't wish you to speculate that. And I'm more than happy to promote other people's streams. Nice to ask first, but there you go. You can probably go check out that guy later, a German man perhaps there. Anyway, let's get the show on the road here. Batteries on, electric hydraulic pumps on, landing gear lever down. We have the 6 green lights as well. Let's do the fault and fire tests. So, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 green lights there. We have fault APU detector in op, master caution overheat detector. Let's do a fire test, wheel well fire warning, and there's the engine overheat test. 2, let's arm the emergency exit lights. Let's have a look at this sector then. So we have an operational flight plan straight from Bristol to Carcassonne. I made it here a little bit earlier, so you can see 6.5 tons of fuel required. What I'll take is an extra 30 minutes because it is forecast to be
40,
quite windy
30,
later.
20,
30 minutes of extra
10.
fuel should cater for a couple of attempts for that approach then before we have to divert to Toulouse. Venus, thank you.
Hello. Been writing you on Discord and then found you're streaming.
Thank you.
Sorry for that.
No problem.
Anyway, when you have 3 minutes, please read my question there. It could be also interesting for your viewers.
Oh, Felis, £5 donation. Thank you very much. Well, we've got an hour and 40-minute flight. I promise you I'll jump into that Discord as soon as we get airborne and see what you had to say. I'm still chasing up that query, by the way, you asked regarding what's the N1 rotation with the engine fail, just flamed out. It does vary based on different speeds, but I'm trying to get a bit more detailed information for you. But I'll have a look, Felis. Thank you so much for your donation. That's very kind, and I hope you're doing very, very well. Superb. Right, so 6.5. Let's take an extra 1,200 kilos. That'll be enough for 30 minutes. So 6.5, 7.5, 7.7. Let's take 7.8 tons of fuel. That's full wings for us today, and that should be keeping us nice and comfortable. So fuel 7.8. And payload 160 passengers I'm simulating on this sector from Bristol to Carcassonne today. So 160 passengers, that's inserted, and the zero fuel weight should be 57.1. Should be updating any second, he says. There we are, 57.1, all loaded, ready to go for the rest of this sector. Excellent. Zach, what was that you said there? I have a question. Do you know how to get pain on the Tolis A321neo mod engines? Because I do not know how to do it. If you can tell me, that would really help. Zach, have you got the Neo add-on for the Tolis? It's a standalone product. It probably doesn't just come with the A321, but not sure how else to help you there. But thank you very much. Flight Ra said, are you going to be doing giveaways on your real flights? No. But I'd love to have continued that theme at work. We'll keep the giveaways here on the Flight Deck to Sim channel there. Felix, don't worry, I already done that. My 747 now has windmilling engines and could be started in flight properly. Fantastic news there, Felix. Pangolin, 160 passengers seems optimistic in the current climate. Well, we're always optimistic here at Flight Deck to Sim, so we'll imagine that these brave passengers, they're willing to pay for the COVID tests and go to France there and taste some of the beautiful wine they have in that region. So all I've got left to do is call for the fuel truck, 7.8 tons. Looks like it's on the way. And who do we have today? Gareth filling up our aircraft with Jet A1, looking very aboard, let's say. Right, let's carry on with the rest of the setup. Test the attend button. Flaps are up, matching up on the flap indicator position. Let's do a config check. No takeoff config warning. Stab trim cutout switches are normal. Did I do the fault and fire tests? I can't remember now. I don't think I did. My goodness, we've been too busy chatting away here in chat, that's why. There, we've done it now anyway. There's the squibs and the fire test. Working our way down here then. Cargo fire test. That's looking good. Got the fire warning lights too. Standby, 2000. Rudder on trim, we check later. Gear extension doors closed. Circuit breakers are in. Emergency escape rope is tethered and attached to the aircraft. Mach airspeed warning test is done. Flight test recorder. There's stall warning test 1 and 2. Put that over to that. IRS to nav. We have no reversal lights, no engine control lights, no EC lights. And the flaps are retracted, circuit breakers are in, and we're happy to start the boarding. There we go. Oscar, one passenger gets a real Airbus Beluga. Well, we've got a really cool load to be carrying on the Beluga for the next stream. I can't wait to show you guys. We're going to be combining it with a stream on the Flight Deck Sim gaming channel as well. Bjorn, in real life, Carcassonne is really cool. Never been. Flight recorder to normal. Did I leave it in test? Just testing you guys. There you go. Thank you very much. Excellent. Right, let's carry on then. So we do have some ATIS here. Let's go grab that. 126025. Allows me to check and make sure that all the volumes are working as well. If it is coming through on voice, which doesn't always work. No, it looks like we don't have the ATIS on voice at the moment. Never mind. Well, I'll grab it on text So right now in Bristol, it is information Charlie. Advise aircraft type on first contact. Runway news is 27. Transition level is 75. Surface wind 170 at 6 knots, 10k. It's a slight tailwind for departure, but they do prefer Bristol for runway 27 in use. 13 degrees, dew point's 5, QNH is 1007. So we have the latest weather. Not too bad at all here in Bristol. So, QNH 1007. Now I have got the OPT pre-populated. I didn't have the time to upload that onto... Here's a screenshot, but I'll tell you we'll be taking full 24k today. And the MFRA is 18... It's a non-standard... Oh no, 1622. That is 1,000 feet above air trim. So 1622 is the MFRA. That is all set, so we'll have terrain on for now. Airport, QNH is set, clock's time's correct. Turn up the lighting, so that should be fine for us now. We check the oxygen as well, lights test as well. Pilot flying will be doing that on the first sector, and now we'll load up the flight management computer. So here is the operational flight plan. Latest AirX installed, correct aircraft. Departure point is Bristol, which is Echo Golf Delta, and we're going to Carcassonne, which is Lima Foxtrot Mike Kilo. Oh no, hold on, I'm jumping the gun here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's tell the aircraft where we are first. There we are, now we are. Going to Carcassonne, Lima Foxtrot Mike Kilo. Our call sign today is Alpaca. What did we go for? 12 Charlie Foxtrot. Let's go for that. Runway 27 in use then. We're expecting a Badim 1 X-ray departure. And then from Badim we are routing Quebec 63 Wu-Tang Clan. we'll just go for Wotad. Quebec 63 Wotad. That is set. Direct to Gavgo. From Gavgo, Lima 18 to Vapid. And from there, Upper November 859 to Gaiac. And there's Gaiac 3 Romeo. So, arrivals, Gaiac 3 Romeo. So, we're going to be flying RNAV approach 10. There used to be no published approach into Carcassonne. I think it was just circle for 28. So, in real life, they'd be flying the RNAV approach 28. But where's the fun in that? We're going to be flying the RNAV 10, circle to land 28. And we're just going to tidy up the arrival here. So, might come up with Rapez twice, so we're just going to go Rapez direct to India Mike Kilo 10. We'll activate that, executes, and that is all loaded. So, total reserves, the sum of these two here. So we've got 3 alternates. We have Toulouse, I think, what's this airport? Perpignan and Barcelona. So we'll take fuel for our C1 commercial alternative Toulouse, and that is going to be less than 2 tons there, so we'll call it 2 tons for the reserves. 0 fuel weight is 57 tons, 64.3. Cost index we'll use is 30. We're cruising at flight level 370 today. That is executed. We can update 370 here, and the elevation is 450 feet. Let's have a look here at the top of climb wind. So we only had 370, so 203 at 23. Nice day to go flying. No stretch stream of any sorts. Top of climb ice is 9 degrees. We just have the average wind to put in, which is 240 at 23. So route data, first waypoint after top of climb, which is here at Sitet, 240 at 23. Executes. So, OPT is giving me full 24k for departure, and departing from Bravo intersection for runway 27 based on a 1 knot tailwind with that surface wind at 170 at 6 knots. It's giving me full 24k at 93.9. That makes sense. By the time we get the APU bleed on, that will decrease to 93.9. So full 24k, and we'll set speeds. We've got on the OPT. Why does it come up as 133, 138, 146? So actually the OPT varies slightly. I think it's because we're field length limited. So 133 is V1, 138 is VR, and then 146 is V2. So the V1 and VR are usually very similar in the 737. I find when you field length limited, the V1 is obviously a little bit lower, because if it would normally be 137 knots, if we rejected 137, we'll probably go off the end of the runway. So it's reduced slightly from 133 because it's not the longest here.
40,
And we'll set V2
30,
146
20,
knots just here. Thank you very much, Kate. I hope you're doing well.
Remember, when operating the real aircraft, your foe will most likely not be Jim, and your call sign is not alpaca.
Thank you very much, Kator, for the €5. I had the same problem last year, because when COVID really kicked in, what was it, end of March, I had 3.5, 4 months of not flying, and yes, it was very difficult to not say alpaca. I didn't have the issue of remembering my FO's name, at least, but yes, thankfully I've been flying a little bit more this year than I did last year doing these technical flights, and I've been trying to say Japan, you know what I mean, on those sectors. But thank you very much, Kator. I'll work very hard to ensure that doesn't happen. PJ, it says hi in chat, hope you're doing well, buddy. Lauren says Alpaca Airways Pilot Lounge just has a map-related board games going on all the times, it seems, something like that. Fleetness, I'll have a look at your question later in Discord. We'll try and answer it together in chat there. Laura says I saw Carcassonne was a big deal because it had hexagon tiles. So an issue with the airport. It's just a gateway series day, but it is a little bit sloped on the ramp, a little bit unrealistic, but we'll use it today. Right, so routing is in, performance is done. We just need to do our panel scan up here. So your damper's on, nav transfer, display switches are normal or auto. Let's check the cross-feed valve. Bright, dim, bright, and off. Main tank pumps on, cabin utility high, feed galley power is on, IDG disconnect switches are closed, standby power is in auto, electric panel is configured as we'd like it. I think the fueling's done. Yes, we have 7.8 tons of fuel on board, so the seatbelt sign can come on. Window heat's on, Pro Heat we're not using at this stage. Trim air's on, packs auto, ionization valve open, APU bleeds off, steady, and we'll get the APU started. It'll be ready to push back in around 5 to 10 minutes. So, departure then, expecting the Badim 1XO, which I'll brief shortly. We'll put 6,100, which is the expected sit-stop altitude. The runway heading in Bristol for runway 27 is 267. 267, and we'll be intercepting the 217 radial here on this SID, but 037 inbound. So I'm going to pose 037 both sides. Here the APU starting up. That's because I've got the door open. 037, that's all done on the MCP. Flight director's coming on as well. Water brake to RTO, reset the fuel flow, and legs here for Jim. That's all set. Trim I didn't set, 5.75 units. There we go. Stab trim gun switch is normal. We check the radar and air on trim at this stage, and all looking good. So, what would we do now? We'd get our clearance, and then we'd step through our briefing to make sure we're all good. Louis, are those background sounds default in the ZIBO? Yes, it's all default. The reason it's loud is because I got the L1 door open for a little bit of realism, so you can see back here. And it's actually, you probably wouldn't quite hear the APU as loud as we are now, but you'd hear it with the aircraft empty and the L1 door open for sure. There you go, look, they're all watching Alpaca Airways, even the cabin crew on the TV there. Anyway, let's jump back into the cockpit. Right, so we do have ground online. Let's tune them up and grab our departure clearance, and then we'll brief and get out of here. So, just check my volume, should be all good.
Ground, hello, good afternoon. This is Speedbird 1 Alpha Sierra at stand 25. Information Charlie on board, requesting Alpha clearance to Lima Foxtrot Mike Kilo, please.
Are you taking a 747 to Carcassonne?
Alpha Sierra Bristol.
Interesting.
Good afternoon. You're cleared to Carcassonne on the Badim
Carcassonne?
departure squawk 7230.
Are you joking? Well, he's going to struggle to get that thing. Well, both BA World Cargo, Bristol, and into Carcassonne.
And squawk 7230, Speedbird 1 Alpha Sierra.
We'll see what the situation is later on in Carcassonne.
Just confirm Badim 1X.
So I might log off, because we don't need ATC for this approach at all.
1 X-ray departure, Speedbird 1 Alpha Sierra.
Wonder what he's carrying in there.
What
What the hell would he be taking? No idea. Bristol ground, very good afternoon. Alpaca 12 Charlie Foxtrot, stand 22. Information Charlie 1007. We're a 738. Departure clearance to Carcassonne, please.
Alpaca 1-2 Charlie Foxtrot, Bristol Grand, good afternoon. You're clear to Carcassonne, Badim 1 X-ray, departure squawk 1455.
Clear to Carcassonne on the Badim 1 X-ray departure, squawk 1455, Alpaca 1-2 Charlie Foxtrot.
Alpaca 1-2 Charlie Foxtrot, read back, great.
Excellent, so we've got 6,000 feet, which is the sit-stop altitude, squawk of 1455. 1455, and the Badim 1 X-ray, which is here in the FMC. So we're pretty much all ready to go. We're doing fantastically for time. Let's get the better pushback connected. Excellent, that's Amy, I believe, here, so I'll just delete it for now and then press connect. Excellent, so at this stage of the planning then, so pilot monitoring would have completed the walk around, I would have completed the tech log, make sure the aircraft's all ready, boarding would have started, and then we'd start the briefing. So we discuss the threats, anything wrong with the aircraft, weather, NOTAMs, etc, etc. We then check the routing. We do a gross error check on the ground distance as well as part of that check, so 605, 620, I'm happy that's the correct routing. Fuel on arrival, expecting 3.5 tonnes. The reserves to divert to Toulouse was 2 tonnes, so we got that extra 30 minutes of fuel to accommodate for that. We then check all the instrumentation to make sure everything's matching the other side, so the time, the QNH, the altimeter. We then do an emergency briefing and a takeoff briefing, so discuss our actions for a normal takeoff, anything unusual. The emergency briefing, what we do in the event of a rejected takeoff, what we're going to do if the engine goes pop at V1 as well, and also the evacuation. You know, the drill, what we read in the checklist. We then get to briefing the taxis, so let's have a look here at the OPT. I'm just accidentally reset my view there, so there we are, that's all looking good. So let's go to Abbotsford Airport. So we're on stand 22 here in Bristol. We'll be pushing back to face most likely east. I don't know if we go onto this line here onto Zulu, not sure. We'll have to see what ground clears us to do. And we've actually got performance figures to take off from Bravo. We'll probably go full length at Alpha. And yeah, there's a little bit more of a larger scale of what's going on. So, runway 27, the Badim 1 X-ray then. It says climb straight ahead to cross 5.5 DME of IBON or 5.2 DME of India Bravo Tango Sierra. So they share a common frequency, both ILSs here. You can fall foul of that in X-Plane 11 because I don't know how it decides which one to use. Let's tune in 11015 anyway. We need to turn up the lighting as well. The lighting's still turned down. So 11015, we'll put those both sides. And this is just backup, we're still going to use LNAV anyway. And then we'll be intercepting the 217 radial inbound to Honolulu, so we'll put 1365 on standby. So our departure then is climb straight ahead 5.2 DME, should be India Bravo Tango Sierra for runway 27, to be 3,000 to 6,000 feet. We have straight ahead here Echo Point, which is this point here, 3,000 feet. Now we'll go make a 180 degree turn onto a track of 088. We've got 087 in the box. Now what I'm going to do here is just put a speed restriction of 220 knots or below prior to this turn. That's because what you'll find is that the aircraft will want to accelerate to 250 knots. We have got a 230 restriction there, but I can't actually see that on the chart. But anyway, if you try and fly this at 250, certain turns it might overshoot, so we usually for the first turn just keep the speed below 220 knots there. We're then going to maintain a track of 088 until we intercept the 217 radial. That's the 037 inbound towards Honolulu, 60 miles from Honolulu. We want to be, there's no height there, but it's just got the coded waypoint there. And then en route to Badim, and then when we get to Badim we'll turn en route, and that's going to be when we are 49.2 miles away from Honolulu. So we've got all the frequencies on standby and the courses, and we've got 6,000 feet set on the MCEP and the FMC. So that's it, that's the SID briefing complete, all ready to go. Steel C, hope you're doing well, good morning. Do you have your views posted anywhere? I do in my Discord, which is for members only, but you're not the first person to ask this. I keep getting asked this. I need to make it public, so what I'll do, I'm going to put it into my G drive and attach a command for Nightbot so you can grab the preset views, but I've just assigned them to my numpad, various views, just to make it as easy as possible. Excellent, so I think we're all good to go, ready to push a start. AV, I think that's your membership renewal, so thank you very much for your continued support as a member, one of our young members there from Holland. Thank you so much for the continued support, and hope you're doing well. Right, so let's request then push and start. So I'm just going to AP on the bus, and before I forget, retract the air stairs, close the doors. Perfect. So before we go, before we call for push and start, we put that to out off. I'll communicate with the ground crew, say, all the doors and hatches closed, ground equipment removed. Yes, all good. We can request push and start 2 minutes early, ladies and gentlemen. Right, let's contact ground now. Bristol ground, Alpaca 1-2 Charlie, Foxtrot, stand 2-2, request push and start.
Alpaca 1-2 Charlie, Foxtrot, stand 2-2. Your push and start is approved. Runway 27 in use.
Push start approved, runway 27, Alpaca 1-2 Charlie, Foxtrot. So what I'll do, I'm going to do a slightly longer push onto the main taxiway. Again, I'm not a ground crew here. It's been a very long time since I've operated from Bristol. So packs off, anti-collision light is on, parking brake, we can now release, transponders out off, checks complete. Look at that, 1 minute early.
Okay, starting Pushback now, and you may start your engine.
Thanks. Listerman says, stop the plane, I've not boarded yet, how dare we leave early? I know, Alpaca Airways usually runs 5 to 10 minutes late, traditionally. But I've got my streams with the ZIBO mod pretty much to a kid now. And very much based off of what we'd be doing in the aircraft, minus the first officer. Excellent. Anthony, unheard of, yes. Put that on the on-time performance tick in the box. You can see the aircraft engines are windmilling from the wind. Superb, starting engine number 2. And 2. Pilot monitoring, recording oil pressure when it comes live. There it is, and N1. Waiting for 25%, N2. Smart valve, dim to bright and off. Much more punctual than Llama Airways, says Adam, absolutely. Rohit, have you heard of FS2 Crew? I have. They've been going for years. I know they were on the, they had the PMDG. FS2 Crew had it for years on FSX, I think.
Golf, start approved, reported for taxi.
Alright, starter cut out, monitoring engine number 2, 2, 4, 6, 3, 2 is stable, starting now engine number 1. And 2. Oil pressure and N1. Excellent.
Operation now complete, please set the parking brake.
Yes ma'am, parking brake set.
Disconnecting tail, please stand by.
There we are, starter cut out, monitoring engine number 1, 2, 4, 6, 3. Number 1 is stable. Just put the generators on and APU off at this stage. Ben, what is QRH in the takeoff performance page? What's that question aiming at, Ben? I'm not sure what you mean there, buddy. QRH is the handbook we use when dealing with non-normal checklists. There's some performance tables and things like that. Steve, don't worry, there's an early departure surcharge per passenger. Alpaca Airways don't do such thing. Tony flies. Alpaca Airways running late for your convenience.
Disconnected, bypass pin's being removed, and the pin will be on the left. Have a safe flight, see you after.
Bye. Excellent. Yeah, I was looking at the wind in Carcassonne just before the stream. It had a tempo wind gusting up to 35 knots. Could be really interesting in this circle. Right, there is the bypass bin, thumbs up, and we can now complete the before taxi flow. So generators on, APUs off, start switch is continuous, propane on, anti-ice not required, packs, auto, isolation valve order, APU bleed is off, and the lights are configured. Flaps to 5, flight controls, all forward, full back, left and right. Here comes the rudders, full right and full left. Recall blank the lower DU, and then we'd complete the before taxi checklist. We'll imagine that is done, and we'll request taxi. Alpaca 12 Charlie Foxtrot, request taxi.
Alpaca 12 Charlie Foxtrot, taxi holding point Alpha X-ray, runway 27.
Alpha X-ray, runway 27, Alpaca 12 Charlie Foxtrot. So Alpha X-ray is the whole point for Alpha, so going to go taxi straight ahead. My sort of taxi. Right, parking brake released. Turn off and taxi lights on, and we're clear left. Jim, thanks, clear right. Config, no takeoff config warning, and let's go to Carcassonne. There's that jump boat going to Carcassonne as well, unbelievable. That is not an aircraft, you'd get into that airport. What, they got winds gusting to 50 at Carcassonne? Great. Just what I want to do on this live stream. Right, let's do the before takeoff checklist then. So config we checked, flaps 5, green light, stab trim is set for departure. That is 5.75 units set. Takeoff briefing then. So packs are auto bleeds on, the V speeds are set for departure. Just trying to stay on the taxi line as well. 33, 38, 46 set, we've got no V speeds on the PFD. The departure then is a bad in 1 X-ray, straight ahead 5 miles, 180 degree turn, and then we're going to go 037 inbound to Honolulu. Stop altitude 6,000 feet.
Alpaca 737-800 passes from Brighton.
NADP2.
You can taxi home point
Any problems will climb straight at 4,000 feet to the MSA. There we are, checks complete. Steam the cabin.
Behind Alpaca 737,
There's whole point Alpha X-ray. Just wait for the cabin secure call.
Alpaca 12 Charlie Foxtrot, unfortunately no further ATC at the moment. 1 Unicom 122 decimal 8, have a good flight, bye bye.
122 decimal 8, thank you so much for coming on for the ATC for ground. Have a great afternoon, bye.
No problem, bye bye.
Excellent, so unfortunately Unicom now, because it's only a ground controller, and they have to wait for their qualification to be able to be tower. Right, anyway, there's Alpha X-ray. We've got the cabin secure there from Stacey. I will imagine we've just been cleared to take off for runway 27. So, have a good check here. Left, there doesn't seem to be anyone on final. And clear to the right, all looking good. And we'll do the before takeoff checklist below the line. So, that can all come on. We've been cleared to take off, so we'll leave the taxi light on. Strobe lights are on, auto throttle LNAV, weather radar, transponder to TARA. So, MCP is set, LNAV, auto throttle, transponder, TARA, strobe lights are on, landing lights are on, checks complete, slight tailwind for departure and crosswind, but we're all ready to go. Not bad, guys, 36 minutes, we're about to blast off down the runway. Uh-oh, 50 knot winds in Carcassonne. That's what I'm looking forward to do. Trying to do one of the most difficult approaches you could do in a desktop sim. Great. Let's go, guys. Toga's in chat. Start the timing. All looking like on the correct runway. Right, 40%. That's all stabilised. Set takeoff thrust. Our live forward pressure on the control column. Looking for 93.8. Takeoff thrust set, indications normal. Checked, release forward pressure. Hand off the thrust lever.
Rotate.
Oh, using all that runway, I forgot Bristol's so short. Right, here we go.
Positive rate.
Gears up, nearly less than full 24k. And onto the flight directors.
400.
LNAV. So, there we are, just past 1,000 feet above aerodrome level, so we'll bug up. There's N1, V2 plus 15 and accelerating, select flaps 1. Beautiful scenery of the Orbex, looks so good. Above the one bug and accelerating, flaps up. Confirm the gears up. Yes, the 146. I'm very thankful for those of you that watched the stream in the 146 last time. I didn't actually forget. It did say gear up. There must have been some weird bug or something happened. Thank goodness. Yes, don't watch the last stream in X-Men level. Right, flaps up, no lights, so commands. There's no ATC, so imagine we got continuous climb to our cruise level. So let's set 370 here. Delete the 6,000 feet restriction. So VNav, we can now select 220 knots for the first turn, remember. Set standard, passing 5-1 flight level 370. And we can now complete the after takeoff checklist. There we go, it's a little bit better in here. So gear to off, water brake to off, start switches off. Air conditioning and pressurization 2.2, and that's slowly climbing. Auto, bleeds are on. All in auto, happy with the temperature. So air conditioning and pressurization is set. So we verify standard set, and on the standby ISFD passing 70 flight level 370 after takeoff checklist complete. We can bring up Honley on box 1 and 2 because we'll be intercepting that 037 inbound to Honley very shortly. And there we are. As soon as that turn's complete, we can also accelerate from 220 knots now. You can do it now. By the time the wings are level, we will be doing 250. There we go. Check's complete. What a beautiful departure. I think one thing I could tell, it's quite quiet here in the stream. Usually have a few people joining. I think it's because the kids have only just finished school. Beautiful. There is Bristol, anyway. And there is the airport. Orbex Truev is absolutely stunning. Yes, a bit of unusual routing because we actually initially go a little bit northeast before turning en route. I think that's just to join on with the airways. It was the suggested approach from SimBrief, so we'll stick with the flight plan for now. Right, altimeters 102, flight level 370. Let's do a pre-cruise check. So fuel 4 pumps, wings are balanced. We've got 7.2 on board, still estimating 3.4 on arrival. Lights coming off, verify the APUs off, pressurization 3.6 climbing. And set. Forgot to release the cabin crew. We have to leave the seatbelt sign on these. At these times, there we are. Checks complete. Todd, Q&H standard. We're all on standard here, buddy. Do often forget things though while I'm streaming. The 747 is on the runway. Oh, was that the one that was just taking off? Not sure. Wow, look at the. Enjoy these external views. Well, passenger view. That's what they'll be seeing on board. See the Bristol Channel. I think that's Filton down there. I flew in there on one of my sector's
50,
instrument rating.
40, 30, 20, 10.
Thank you very much, Leonard TVG, for the pound. Always when I look at your streams, I think of that song called Smooth Operator. No need to ask, he's a smooth operator. Smooth operator, never going to sing again. Thank you very much, Leonard TVG, for your donation there. Thank you very much. All going very smoothly so far. All very much going smoothly so far. Let's hope it keeps that way. But yes, did someone grab that METAR in Carcassonne earlier? I just had a look at you, right? Gusting up to 50 knots for tempo winds. How on earth that's going to happen in the sim? I don't know how X-Plane 11 and Active Sky deals with tempo winds. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. Excellent. FS Turt, did you manage to get into the sky this year, Captain? Yes, I've done 3 flights this year. It's been over a month since I last flew now, though, doing these what we call ghost flights. So basically to keep both ourselves, our aircrew current, and the fleet serviceable, that's aircraft not in long-term storage. There is a requirement for it to be flown every 7 days. And I did a couple in end of April. No, what are we now? May. End of March. Sorry, right at the end of March. So I did one in the beginning of March as well. And I've been
50,
in the sim a couple of times
40,
there. One for my
30,
3-day,
10.
3 takeoff and landings in 90 days, and the max conversion. Thanks, David.
Thanks for the videos.
Thank you very much, David. That's very kind. You're most welcome. I hope you're really enjoying the content and mirroring what we'd be doing in the 737. And thank you so much for the contribution. Hope you're doing very well, buddy. Cheers. Excellent. Ben Harper, how long is today's sector, Captain? 1 hour 40 minutes. 1 hour 40 minutes. Anthony says there goes Xbox Lite. I guess you were referring to
50,
the fact that
40,
we might be able to deal with some
30,
quite gusty winds there.
20, 10.
Thank you very much, Icefire.
Engine severe damage or separation memory
It's been a
items.
while since you come in here. So recognise the condition. It would be for a fire, an engine fire warning, a loud bang, unusual N1 rotation or EGT, or the lower DU's popped up there. Auto throttle if engaged, disengaged, thrust lever, left number 1 or number 2 engine, confirm and close. We put my hand on it as I am here, confirm it with pilot monitoring. He says yes. We then close it. Engine start lever, confirm cut off, yes or no with the first offset. Engine fire switch, confirm pull. Now here's an interesting question. Actually, it's one of my someone who follows the channel asked this recently. If you pull this lever up, it's locked usually, but if the fire light is illuminated, it unlocks it, so you'll be able to pull it up. You do pull it as part of the severe damage checklist, but you actually have to push this little black button underneath to unlock it there. You pull that up, and then if there's no fire, you just pull it, but if there is a fire, you rotate and hold it, and wait for the engine discharge, or the bottle discharge lights, and then you have to wait 30 seconds before discharging the other engine. There you go. That's it, check's complete. For the memory items there. Always cool, catching me off guard there, Icefire. Thank you very much for your continued support. Great to have you back as a member as well. Excellent. Dave is Marion at work. Didn't see her in chat this Sunday evening either. She's busy doing her own things. I've got she used to moderate all the time now, but we obviously had quite a few new moderators come in a few months ago and stuff, and they're usually here active and keeping us busy. So I think she's actually playing Valorant at the moment. She's a bit addicted to that game at the moment. She's still here and around, but she's also going back to work very soon at the end of the month. Well, I think a bit later than I will be. Mickey, where's your home base? That is something I don't disclose publicly. Thank you very much for your understanding. I am willing to say I'm based in the UK. That's all there, and I hope you appreciate that's my most detailed answer. You can speculate as much as you like. You can guess as well. Well, please don't, but thank you for respecting that. And yeah, that's it. Same way with my operator too. Thanks, Joe. Hope you're doing well, Dave Hagen. Says you can cause trouble if you want, no thanks. Christian says only some CBs over Carcassonne, wind is 10 knots. Has it died down a bit? One thing I don't do when I'm streaming, I don't generally have a look at the SIG weather charts. Let's have a look at that. There's no, they did actually have forecast some CBs, no thunderstorms, but CBs still potential for some thunderstorms. So this is the SIG weather chart for our routing. Yeah, there's no embedded CBs or isolated CBs. There are over the Alps here. We have moderate turbulent, moderate icing below 15,000 feet, but that's that's quite normal. But yeah, jet streams here to the east of our destination over the northern med. But no, it's pretty calm, pretty normal. But based off the forecast weather in Carcassonne, I would have taken a bit of extra fuel anyway. Ray, thanks to you, I'm hooked to F1. Also bought a Assetto Corsa, thanks for bringing the interest into me, by the way. What do you think about the 20-second gap for Hamilton? Are you referring... Well, he wasn't that far ahead, was he, today? On Sunday, sorry? Was he? I can't remember. He only just got passed by... only just passed Hamilton about a few laps before. But no, very much into Formula 1, very much into sim racing. We're doing another stream on Saturday on the Flight Day Sim Gaming, an Alpaca GT Series race in Spa, but I haven't had a chance to practice yet. Zeustine says, where is the button to summon a coffee when you sit in the captain's seat? Can't tell you that secret. Anyway, shame it's a little bit cloudier, so we can't see that beautiful ortho. Well, not ortho, sorry, true earth. There we are. A little bit of background music on now. Excellent. Yeah, nice flight time today. What I'm going to do, if you are interested, guys, if you head over to my Instagram, I will show you this very diagram I am describing. I have made you a little diagram. Look at this. I cheated a little bit because this picture's off the internet, but I added the headings and timings. I'll be giving you a full approach briefing today. And what I've done, I've created a little diagram to explain this exact approach we're flying, the tracks I'd fly, the timings, and I'll obviously, on top of this, explain how we configure the aircraft flying a certain approach. This is a very
40,
generic
30,
generic
20,
way
10.
of flying circling approaches, which we use on my operator there. Thank you very much, Mark King, for the $5.
Mariana in her own world playing Valorant whilst you practice for work. I think everyone knows Mariana is doing something more creative and realistic.
Of course, Mark, but I can assure you she is playing Valorant. That's what she likes doing at the moment as well. But she is very creative and realistic for sure. Thank you so much, Mark, for the £5 donation. Very, very kind there. Isaac, when are you flying to Ghana? Good question, Isaac. It's not on my places we need to visit list. I like to utilise Microsoft Flight Simulator for a lot of the streams in parts like Africa and South America and places like that. Not that I've done much in Microsoft Flight Simulator recently because I've got all that amazing scenery included with the game, but yes, we'll look into doing that perhaps soon. David, I hope you get back to regular full-time flying soon. It's got to be a little frustrating. Of course it is, David, but you know, what's important in life, your health, you're happy, yes, everything's hunky-dory, and I've been very grateful to have the channel, which was obviously live and kicking way before COVID kicked in. I mean, the channel's now over four years and 3 months old, but it's been both just very entertaining to do, and it's not only that, kept us very occupied. I love planning little streams we do, and it's kept me fresh with regards to my operator's SOPs. So things like the stream we're doing today, testing the ZIBO mod earlier, flew this exact sector. I follow through a lot of the manuals and refresh my knowledge on circling approaches. It's great preparation for these going back onto the line. Just like it was last year when COVID kicked in, and then I went back flying in July. I found when I came back, it felt like I hadn't been gone that long at all. Louis, when you do a check ride in the simulator, what simulator is displayed on the screens? Great question there, Louis. So the full motion level D simulators we're using, my operator has CAE Sims, one of the leading creators of these synthetic sim devices, and it's an in-house simulation system, so it's not like X-Plane or FSX or anything like that. So the flight data, it's data which I think how it works, don't quote me on this, but CAE will purchase the data from Boeing on the flight model, how the aircraft configures and how it works and stuff, and then CAE has a sort of I don't know, I guess Europe in there. I don't know how it works, but you basically select the airport you want. It does have pretty much all the airports in the database, but only a dozen or so high quality airports. the graphics are nowhere near as good as what they'd be in a payware airport or a high quality freeware airport. But that's not what they're for. We spend 98% of the time in IMC, so it's only when we're taxiing on the ground there. But what we see is from a projector. It's projected onto a projector, and that's what we see out the window, like a curved projector. Yeah, incredible. 2 tons. Callum made an excellent Alpaca GT Series compilation video in the racing channel in Discord. Very cool. I'll have a look at that after the stream. Rohit, you should do a general aviation stream, a cross-country flight with planning. I've got something in mind which I've been trying to do for a while, Rohit, but I've been either busy doing other things, streaming in other simulators like X-Plane, but I have got a GA flight I want to get done in Microsoft Flight Simulator where we'll do some proper, you know, dead reckoning, flying tracks based off the forecast wind and see what happens. Georgios, hope you're doing well. He says, hi Captain, good flight. Thank you very much. Adita Elvis Presley fan channel. Once the ZIBO equivalent comes to 2020, how long do you think you'll take before switching to Microsoft Flight Simulator, or do you plan to switch at all? Thanks. There's not such a thing I'll ever do as switching simulators, Aditya. I'm not going to say, right, I'm going to exclusively use X-Plane or Microsoft Flight Simulator. I will continue to use X-Plane 11 or perhaps an upcoming version of X-Plane 11 because, you know, it has this Lambda research, has this late element theory, which I think trumps whatever system other sims are using. I think Microsoft Flight Simulator has ditched their tabular-based flight model system to actually have a similar system to what Lambda research uses. But I see the quality in both sims, and no doubt a quality 737 PMDG will make a fantastic one, no doubt in time, and we will use it. But I don't intend to swap. You know, I'll probably use that and the ZIBO mod still, and every other aircraft that comes out that you'll want me to fly, because a lot of the guys you donate contribute, I invest back into the channel, so if an aircraft comes out you want me to fly it, no problem, we'll grab it and we'll get it. Alberto, just completed my interview for my flight school training in Jerez, FT yesterday. Let's see if by the time I'll get a job secured I should finish by 2023. What would you think is suggestible? Well done, Alberto. I mean, you know, everyone's starting their flight training or delayed it because of what's going on. Who knows, Alberto? I don't know what could happen in 2 years' time. We could be back to how we were pre-COVID, or it could be that this winter everything goes downhill again. No one knows. I'd like to think that based on the vaccinations and how effective they are, certainly in the UK now, where we're almost close to opening up everything from next Monday. If you're not in the UK, guys, we can finally go in. At the moment, the rules in the UK is you can meet someone outside up to a group of 6 people, so you can go to your friend's car, but you can't go inside. From next Monday you can, I think, convene in groups of up to 30 outside, but you can go to other people's households, which will be the first time, what, 5-6 months? That'll be a good test to see what happens, but yeah, it really looks like, I think it was the first day, wasn't it, this week, where we had 0 COVID deaths everywhere except Wales? I can't remember, or Northern Ireland, don't know. Very positive, but best of luck with your training. I digress, but may I wish you the best. Felix, just a reminder for my question, Captain. Let's have a look then, hold on. Let's have a look here, Felix. There's top of climb, and we're just approaching the English Channel. We'll pop outside here. Let me see what Felix had to say. Beautiful. It is if my Discord opens up. Welcome back, log in. What? Why is it telling me to log in for? Try on my mobile. And inside the pub, absolutely, Owen. It's just, the UK has just not quite been warm enough to enjoy outdoors unless you've been wrapped up. It had a dry month, but not much rain there. Oh my goodness, Felix, that is a question and a half. Let me read it out. I have an interesting question. Recently I've been tuning the APU air bleed pressure and engine starter torque to be able to start engines at high elevation airports, so it made it so it would be on the edge. I did my test at this airport, which has an elevation of 11,000 feet. Manual says 747 is certified to operate up to 10,000 feet. Question is, what is the maximum elevation where you can start the engines using APU on the 737? I think the maximum operating altitude for our particular 737s, I've got a figure in my head of 8,400 feet. I might be completely wrong. You know, in Europe, it's nowhere which has such a high airport. So regarding engine starts above that height, not so sure. I've got a figure in my head of 8,400. Let's see if I'm right. I'm just trying to find my manual here. Yeah, I'm not sure about that figure. I have to do a bit more digging and research there. I think ZIBO has gone to a lot of effort to make sure that the engines sort of simulate the lower density altitude at higher altitude. The performance decreases substantially. We did a stream once into, I think it was Bogota, and somewhere else the elevation was 9,000 feet, and you could, you know, Expert 11 models the density altitude really realistically. So there's a big difference between true airspeed and indicated airspeed there with no wind. Ground speed was, you could see the difference. So yeah, I'll have to do a bit more looking into that feed list, but thank you very much for your donation to highlight that comment. I would have read it anyway. That was very kind.
$50, $40, $30, $20.
Thank you,
10.
Fabio, for the €5. Very kind.
Alpaca Airways. Best content on the tube. Keep it coming, Captain.
Thanks a lot, Fabio, for the €5. Very kind. Glad you're a fan of Alpaca Airways, your favourite airline of all time. That's very kind. Thank you so much for your donation there. I hope you're doing well. And thanks for popping into another Alpaca Airways flight. Laura, I can't remember if the NG used La Paz 13,200 or if it's just Airbuses these days. Yeah, I mean, we've got to figure in our limitations for our maximum. Let me find it. Let me just grab my work iPad. There we go. But you know, it's seldom an issue. I believe I've just got a figure of 8,400 in my head. Let's have a look here. So, yes, maximum takeoff and landing altitude, and this is an FCOM limitation for us in the 737, is 8,400 feet. I was right. I knew that figure was bumping around in my head somewhere. So yes, we cannot operate. I don't know if this is a fleet, you know, a fleet restriction from our operator, but yeah, maximum takeoff and landing altitude in our limitations page is 8,400 feet. So we can't actually operate there any higher than that. Excellent. Pilot guide, pockets AP bleed can be used up to 17,000 feet on the NG. That is correct. What did pockets say? APU and electrical loads 10,000. It's hard to guess. The max operating altitude depends on the customer requirement when they take delivery. Could be an optional extra. Yeah, Boeing have all sorts of extras. You can have short field package performance options. I don't think that affects the restrictions though, but there could be perhaps the 27k bumped engines or something. I'm not sure, but yeah, we cannot land at an airport any higher than 8,400 feet. But we operate in Europe, so that's not an issue. Highest airport elevation I've landed is probably, I'm trying to think now, Madrid, maybe? Can't remember. Uh, 747s operates every day out of Bogota. Yeah, but at 747 I don't know. Yeah, pockets without electricity up to 17,000. Yeah, that's all correct. So if you're using the APU as a bleed air source in flight on its own, without using the electrical power from the APU bleed, you can go up to 17,000 feet. If the APU is providing both electrical power and pressurization, it's 10,000 feet. But the APU is able to create or cater for the AC load on its own up to the maximum service ceiling of 41,000. A Sharkness says the 10,000 feet limit APU pressure altitude or density altitude doesn't go into that much detail. It'll be 10,000 feet on the MCP, so you go up to 10,000, that'd be fine. Ben, well, firstly, Greg Scott, good evening to you. But Ben, your wife's just broke the flight deck to sim mug. Divorce time. Is that because you're watching it, Ben Matthews? And you've just said, she's asked you, what are you doing? And Ben's gone, I'm watching flight deck to sim stream. She's just got the mug and just smashed it. I hope not. That's a disaster. I'm sure nothing a bit of super glue can fix. Right, let's do a little fuel check at SITET. So, should be up here. There we are, SITET. So we should be airborne for SITET for 26 minutes based off our Mach number and our cruise speed. So yes, 26 minutes. Superb. We should have burned 2,025 kilos. Fuel used is 1,900 kilos. So that's pretty much where we'd expect it to be. We saved a little bit of fuel. Fuel on board should have 4.3, and we have there just shy of 6 tons. So remember that extra fuel we took is also on board as well. So all looking good there at SITET. SITET's the FIR boundary between London Control and is it Paris? I think it's actually, I can't remember if it's Paris that controls this area or Bordeaux yet. But no, I think it might be Bordeaux already. I know we're not overhead Bordeaux, but the ATC is provided by Bordeaux. And then yeah, continuing onwards, Etretat, Nouvelle, Liège, Amboise. We'll be descending, well, 42, really 25 minutes before that, so we'll be descending around 25 past, so yeah, just around 50 minutes till top of descent. In around 20 minutes time, we're going to start setting up for the circle to land, because a lot more to explain here, and I want this stream to be a kind of very, you know, I'm going to make a nice, thorough briefing, break things down a little bit more simpler for everyone. I'm not saying that anyone here is requires that, but you can then perhaps practice any circling approach to any airport, because I'll be showing you kind of like the generic circling procedure. Some airports will have a specific track they want you to fly when you're flying a circle, and you fly these tracks, but what I'm applying here, you can apply off any approach. I mean, if you're flying into Heathrow and you wanted to circle to land, you could fly the tracks and timings the way I'll show you how to calculate that. Not that I'd ever recommend going onto that sim and say, please can I do a circle to land from ILS 27 left onto 09 right. Might upset a few people. Thank you very much, Vickers DS. Don't know why it's not pinged up. I've just scrolled through the chat and seen that. Which chart can I find standard traffic patterns? Thank you very much, Vickers. So a standard traffic pattern isn't an instrument approach; it's a visual approach. So there's no chart for it. So you'll find probably, if you look here, I'm not sure about Carcassonne, but what you might find on an instrument chart like Jefferson. Not always, but it might say, yeah, the circuit direction is 2,000 feet, right hand is the standard circuit direction. So there's no charts. Sometimes you might have a VFR chart that will show you, but you won't find it on anything like, usually on a jet chart here. Let's have a look here. There's no aerodrome information here, I don't think. No, but yeah, you just want to, if you look at Vickers at my tutorials on the visual circuit tutorial in the PMDG NGX, that'll sort of explain what's going on there.
50, 40, 30,
late to the party.
20, 10.
Which chart can I find standard traffic patterns?
Catch up, Jane. Thanks a lot, Vickers. Very kind. Oh my... Thanks a lot, Ben Matthews has just bought well, not, there's a Keep Calm and Sim On mug. Thank you very much for that. Very kind. I can't see the comment below it. I hope your wife doesn't smash that one. Very, very kind. Thank you. Very funny as well. My goodness me. My goodness me. Quick question, guys. Are you being able to watch the stream in 1080p? It's coming up on my stream. Oh yeah, it should be in 1080. Yeah, 1080 60 FPS. It came back as only 360, but no, it's all good here. I could quite see the comment there, Ben, but very, very funny. You said earlier, sadly she didn't break it. She was washing up and it fell out of her hand. Oh, that's what she said. GBC guy, my Southwest Airlines 737-200-300 says 8,300 for the 200, 8,400. So it sounds like that's a pretty generic maximum operating altitude for the NG. Take care, Felis. I don't know if you've already jumped out, but I'll try my best to, you know, always feel free to DM me and I'll look into any of those questions. Yeah, it was my pleasure to help out. In human reactions, is the flight factor 757 worth it? Yes, I quite like the flight factor 757. They did an update a few months ago which improved it quite a bit as well. But yeah, it's been a while since we've wheeled that out as well. Last stream we did the 757 was in the United States, I think. I think we went from Phoenix to Dallas or Denver?
50,
can't remember.
40, 30, 20, 10.
Thank you very much, Northern Lights, for the 50 Swedish krona.
Do you leave the auto throttle engaged after takeoff all the time until engaging autopilot? I mean, even if you hand fly for some time.
Thank you very much, Northern Lights, for your 50 Swedish krona. So this has actually come up quite recently on a stream. So Boeing actually say when you're hand flying in the 737, we recommend you have the auto throttle disconnected. The exception being on a takeoff roll or a go around where you have it engaged, depending on what stage you initiated the go around there. So yeah, if I was to hand fly for departure, I'd actually leave the auto throttle on. I know we'd then probably transition into the climb and the climb out there, but we didn't actually disconnect it. You can utilise that, and then when you level off, the auto throttle will reduce the thrust for you. Even though it does say, you know, disconnect the auto throttle there, but I've sometimes hand fly up to 15-20,000 feet, the auto throttle's in for the whole time. Could I disconnect it? I could, but the FMC, you know, is going to set the most desirable M1 perfectly for you when you're in M1, so you should probably leave it there. But in descent the same again, you know, in descent not the same, sorry, I disconnect the autopilot and I'll then disconnect the auto throttle straight away. Great question there, thank you very much for your donation there. Todd, no idea on the resolution. I'm watching on your phone. You've got to be staring there. Guy, not sure if that's a renewal or you're coming back. I'm trying to remember your name in Discord if you asked there, but thank you very much for your continued
50,
support. As a
40,
very kind. Welcome
30,
back, maybe.
20,
thank you for the
10.
continued support. Thanks again, Vikas. That's very kind of you. Oh, fine, Lazy Jane. Why is she not reading? Have been flying for a few months on the 320 on Flight Sim 2020. How easy or hard is the transition to the 737 on X-Plane? Have the 320 Thrustmaster throttle and a side stick. Thank you very much, Vikas, for your donation there. So I guess you're using the Fly-by-Wire project for Flight Sim 2020, which I know has been highly recommended and has a lot of feedback and real pilots testing it. So sounds good. I've only ever flown the 737, so all of my SOP knowledge and skill set is this aircraft. So for me, obviously, I find the 737 harder to fly than I would the Airbus because I'm unfamiliar with that aircraft there. However, what I'd recommend is if you're thinking of trying out X-Plane 11, do it. It's all you need, honestly, Vickers TS, is X-Plane 11. The ZIBO mod is completely free to download. You don't need to do anything else. And my absolute must for you to invest and make it realistic is Active Sky. Honestly, if X-Plane 11, Active Sky, ZIBO mods, you're pretty much seeing what you're seeing here, guys. Obviously, I've got Ortho, and not that you can see much of it today, but and then True Earth, GB, and by Orbex, which enhances the visuals. But you know, you really can get what you're seeing here on a shoestring. X-Plane 11, ZIBO mod, Active Sky is a must. Like it is. Or another weather injector. I mean, I have no relationship with the devs at Active Sky, but it's a must, absolute must for me. But thank you very much for your donation again. And if you have the 320 Thrustmaster throttle, I have the side stick. I have the Thrustmaster Airbus side stick, fine, and I actually really like it. Not because it obviously looks like an Airbus, but it has so many buttons which you can configure, which I use. I use a lot of those buttons, you know, for the Autoga, for disconnecting the automation, for recycling flight directors. It's really useful for them. Thanks a lot, buddy. That 747's catching up. Uh-oh. Let's have a little look outside. Reminds me of across the... Oh my god, there he is! There's us. There's a 747. There's someone else behind him as well. My oh my. We'll have a look at Carcassonne, guys. No offence to these guys following, because I know they joined in on the stream, but I might log off because a circling approach, they're going to be coming in straight behind, and you don't want multiple aircraft flying a circle approach, because if I have to go around, they could be, you know, just pointing straight towards me. Jeremy L, are you and or your operator RNP AR approach approved? We're not Jeremy L, we are only RNP LNAV to LNAV VNAV minima approved, so authorization required approaches we don't have approval for. There's not many in Europe, there are some into some complex airports, so it's not an issue, but no, we are getting, I think the company are looking into getting that there, because what's going to be coming in the future, we were touching on it earlier briefly, are these sort of approaches which basically, you know, with the accuracy now of GPS and RNAV based systems, they can now build approaches which they couldn't build before. So for example, we're mentioning the circling approach we're going to fly in the future, they'll be able to build an approach based off the circle, and it'll descend all the way below the minimums to your minimum usage height to basically place the aircraft 200 feet on the final. But that is coming soon. But thank you very much there. Peter TH has bought some crew socks, Alpaca Airways crew socks. Thank you very much, Peter. So kind. You'll be the your friends will be in admiration and I can't even think of the word now. They'll be so shocked that you have them, let's say. Awesome, thank you very much. Oh, brilliant. Hamza, hello Captain. Great way to finish Ramadan in one of your beautiful streams. Thank you very much, Hamza. Thank you very much. Hello, if you don't have a throttle, isn't hand flying more difficult that way? If you don't have a throttle... Louis, so on my joystick, on the Thrustmaster joystick, they have a little black switch which you can use to thrust. It seems quite inadequate, but it's actually, for the amount of hand flying I do, well, even when I'm flying around on GA, it's absolutely fine. I don't mind using that to set the thrust. I'll be using it today. Whenever I hand fly this aircraft, I use it. For me, it works perfectly. Uh-oh, Andy M71, I wonder who told Nightbot that Bristol is EDDG. Mariana? No, it was me. Let's have a look here. I'll fix Nightbot. Come here, Nightbot. Oops, yes. Slight IKO letter muddling there. Sorry, Pilot Plus. GGD. Oops, I think I've also got the wrong developer there as well. Sorry, Pilot Plus. Oh my days. It still said runway 26 simulations. They did not make this Bristol airport. Oopsie daisy. Right. I've serviced Nightbot. Now ready to provide accurate information for you all. Brilliant. Samuel, would you have to do specific training for AR approaches? Not sure. Not sure. Essentially, there's not much difference. You're still using LNAV VNAV down to a very low altitude. It's very important that you correctly monitor the systems, though, if you lose RNAV capability, especially where some of the RNAV AR approaches are. Trying to think where we went last. It was into Toncontin, wasn't it? In Honduras. Yeah, you would not want to lose RNAV capability flying those approaches, so you need to have a sort of backup. You know what you're going to do if you lose RNAV capability.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Thank you, Foxtrot
Just
Sierra.
dropping in to show some love.
Aw.
Keep up the great content.
Thank you very much, Foxtrot Sierra Simulation, for the $5. That's very kind. Thank you so much. It's very much appreciated, your love. Thank you. And glad you enjoyed the content, and you're perhaps able to use it to enhance your simming experience. So thank you very much, buddy. Nightbot, aka Wiki. Thanks, Anthony. ELJ4S, when you are talking about the routing, Wotan Direct Gavgo Lima 18 is mandatory. It's a Eurocontrol restriction. Is it? I didn't know that. We just get a flight plan, guys. You know, we get the flight plan, we punch it into the FMS. So when it comes to particular routing for certain routes, I'm not so sure about. So anyway, let's keep an eye on our progress here. 221 miles top descent, so I'm going to start briefing around 150 miles out, so we have plenty of time to look into detail for the circle. Aristocrat, in a recent stream, someone asked if you had seen the electric tugless pushback. You mistook this for electric tugs. It's actually electric motors in the nose ones. So there you go. I didn't know that.
50,
Thank you very much.
40, 30, 20, 10.
KL74, thank you so much for the €5 there.
Love the base streams. I was interested as I flew City Jet's RJ85 motion sim with the Honeywell autopilot.
Oh, I'll make it easy.
It's wild to see the difference between RJ, Bay.
I love Microsoft Jane donation voices pronunciation of BAE is Bay. Well, technically it is. Thank you very much, KL74. Thank you so much for the feedback on the streams. Thank you very much, listening as well. Yes, the Honeywell autopilot, which I think is fitted. I've been looking at some videos of the 146, and there seems to be quite a few that had the Honeywell, and that would make your life considerably easier. Because it's conventional, you know, you've got vertical speed, level change, I think. But I really like the system they had on the 146 anyway, how you could use that sync feature to set your target vertical speed. It also had IS hold as well, so I really enjoy preparing for those streams because I'm quite interested in the technical side of those systems. How did it work? How do these guys use it? I'd never seen that function before, but yeah, maybe Just Flight, the team behind the 146, will update it to have a Honeywell autopilot in the future. But thank you very much, KL74. No doubt we'll be jumping back into the 146 again soon. Day Gamer, I have a question. I've installed the ZIBO, but the lights don't work. Why? It could be a whole host of reasons there, Day Gamer. It sounds like you might have an issue with the installation, so what I'd recommend is perhaps trying a clean install of that version, and then perhaps making sure that works there. Usually if it's not a clean install, you'll have other issues, but I'm afraid I won't be able to get into more detail on that. But it looks like Listermin has been able to help you. You need to set your graphics quality HDR or more to see light. So there you are, Listermin there straight away with the answer. Thank you, Listermin. Anthony says, welcome to the Flight Data Sim library. The most checked out books are, of course, the Flight Data Sim Atlas and 737 of my best excuses by Flight Data Sim. Anthony. Wait, can I do it in chat here? See if I can. I can, just for you, Anthony. First ever time doing a stream. Didn't know you could do that. Amazing. Anyway, approaching Amboise. Let's have a little look on the VATSIM map. We might be able to perhaps get some ATC shortly. Let's have a look on the VAT scope. I found where I am. Very quiet on VATSIM today. I was sort of torn today. I did see that there was an overload event going into Manchester, but I thought, you know what? Let's do a circle. Anthony, I remember last time you tried it, it came out as a banana. I know, I pressed the wrong one. And everyone was going bananas. Brilliant. Thanks, Joe. Yes, this is a family-friendly stream. Please refrain from expletives, thank you. This is your first warning, thank you, sorry. Don't time me out. Thanks, CH Soper as well. Oh, dear. Just imagine, yeah, if Nightbot kicked me out. God. Goodness me. There we are, let's pop in outside. Such a shame about the clouds. Should keep the master turned up and then this one down. There we go, that's better. Beautiful. Right, so let's have a little look at the latest weather as well. Hopefully we won't have any of those tempo gusting 50 winds. That sounds pretty clement. Just refreshing the weather here. Oh, lovely. So right now, surface wind in Carcassonne, 300 at 20, gusting 33, 7,000 metres, rain, CBs, tempo gusts of 50 knots. Oh my days, why did I decide to come in here today? Oh my goodness me, this is going to be really quite something. Oh no! Well, don't go anywhere, guys. The weather in Carcassonne is atrocious today. Oh dear. We'll start setting up very soon. There is Nightbot. Thank you very much for grabbing that, James. And that was James. Sorry. Now, so 16:30 Zulu. So 25 minutes ago. 300 at 20, gusting 33, 7,000 meters, rain. So no. Oh no! I've just realised something. X-Plane 11's modelling of wet runways, and this is quite short here. Oh no! We might be going. Might be going for a little excursion, guys. Oh, I'm going to have to go max reverse thrust and max auto brake, I think. Ice fire. Oh, the choice is partake in an overload event or circle to land in a hurricane. Oh no. Oh dear. Well, we take an extra fuel. We'll see what happens.
40, 30, 20, 10.
Thank you so much, John Panfield, for the £5 and for your continued support as a member.
Excellent news on your upcoming flight, Captain.
Thank you.
Maybe hang a pilot's tip jar by the exit him. Sure, people will put in a few quid for a butter.
Oh dear.
Semicolon.
I think it was a wink, but thank you very much, John Padfield. Yes, maybe you can get tips as pilots based on how smooth buttery your landing is. Put a little jar at the front there on the by the L1 door. Probably haven't flown so long, it won't be a complete butter, but that is not, remember, the criteria for a safe landing, as Boeing quote. But we'll see what we can do there. Thank you very much, John. Nonetheless, very kind. Todd will be expecting butter, you know, or anything less, you guys completely. That's it. Game over for me. Oh dear. Yeah, runway excursion. Possibly. Really could be, guys. But X-Plane 11, when you have a wet runway, it seems to add some sort of oil slick onto it. The stopping performance is atrocious. So a flat 40, I'm going to go max auto, and I'm probably going to brake manually after touchdown there. Not something we'd actually do. Max manual braking after touchdown unless it's absolutely needed. Just to make sure we don't go off the end of the runway. It's only about 1900 metres long. Excellent. Oh, hello, Jack. You just walked in. Kai says, time to see flight deck sim at his full potential runway excursion. Oh dear. We're yet to do that on a stream. Maybe in a light tech. Alright, buddy. Alright. Jack's just come in here because obviously. Good boy. What's it? He's looking a bit funny actually. Do you want to go on your bed? Go on then. He's got a bed under my desk now. Can you hear his tail wagging? Good boy. Bread, when the ACARS releases for the ZIBO mod, you'll do a tutorial for it. Potentially, Bread. We don't actually have ACARS at my operator, so I don't actually know much about the system, how it works. Good boy, alright. Bless you. Podelau, Flying in a Sim, I've heard you play on Xbox. What kind of games do you play? All sorts, really. We're into COD at the moment. COD Modern Warfare. So, you know, Search and Destroy, Headquarters, Hardpoint. Usually play it every Wednesday. I play with the same bunch of people. I won't repeat what goes on said in those games. And we sometimes jump online in lobbies with other people as well. So playing a lot of that. Otherwise, Gears of War we've been playing for years. Halo, all classics really. Jojo, Mr. Man's brilliant. Pilot Guy 707, you'll need a rest gear, I know. Steve Mayer, CAA's on standby for runway excursion, no comments. Well, one thing that will probably help us is actually the headwind, because we'll be circling over to runway 28, and with that wind we'll have what was the wind? The current wind is 300 at 20, gusting 33, so the wind coming from 300, that's going to be around a 20-25 knot headwind anyway, so that's going to really help with stopping performance, and that's really well modelled with flat 40 and the speed brake. That will help us, you know, help with the landing performance even more, so we should be okay. Todd, what's the max allowable tailwind that Boeing recommends on landing? I'm sure you didn't say, but can't remember. 10 knots. 10 knots tailwind approval. Right, anyway, how long have we got? 141 miles. So, guys, it's a little bit earlier than I'd usually be setting up for our descent here, but I want to give you kind of a full briefing on how we'd actually fly circling approaches as well. So let me just get it all set up and then we'll step into the briefing. So I'll send control over to Jim. Let's get the flight plan chart up. So, 250 below 100. Forecast winds are in 310, 200, 100. So we've got 267 at 36. 200 is 271 at 33. At 100, 270 at 34. Right, QNH in Carcassonne at the moment is 1013. That's executed. So, fixed rings, we'll be using runway 10 to approach, and the RNAV approach, so we'll have the usual 3 times the height, so at 37,000 feet, so that's 111 miles for top of descent, 10 mile ring, and we'll configure no later gear down flat 15 by 4 miles. Additionally, we put a fixed ring around the landing runway, and we put a 4.2 mile ring in. Now, what is this 4.2 mile ring? This is the kind of protection area around the landing runway for circling approach in a 737, which is a Cat C approach aircraft. And so long as we maintain the circling minima within 4.2 miles of the landing runway, which is depicted as a fixed ring now, we will be clear of all obstacles. I believe the actual height is something like by 394, 396 feet. But basically, so long as you're at the circling minima within 4.2 miles of the landing runway for a circling approach, you'll clear all obstacles by at least 400 feet. So that's why it's very important when you're manoeuvring during the circle, you don't go below that height at your circling minima until you're sort of turning final or established on base leg final. You don't want to start descending downwind. Well, you can if you sort of turn it into a visual approach or a circuit, but you want to maintain that minimum all the way around. We've got the minimums in and fixed rings as well. So let's have a look here at the approach charts. Ah yes, I actually saved the flights here. ZIBO has the new save flight function. It's incredibly good. I've been actually using it to practice approaches. I was showing the guys on Discord, so I'm trying to get in the habit during the stream to save the progress, so if it does crash I could just reload it quite quickly. So airport then, arrival is going to be a Gaiac 3 Romeo. The approach is going to be RNP 10, and then we'll circle to land on 228. So in real life, yeah, we wouldn't be flying this approach. We'd be flying the RNP approach runway 28. But yeah, no fun in that for today's stream. So that's done. Airport chart we've selected as well. So Gaiax 15.8, we're actually going to be flying an RNAV approach, so there's no frequencies to tune apart from an NDB. Oh god, how do I get the iPad back up again? It's there, isn't it? I forgot about that. 15.8 for Gaiac. We wouldn't usually tune nav aids on the star unless you had an issue with the FMS, but there's nothing else to tune for the approach, so we'll tune 15.8 for Gaiac. Just outside there, no DME at the moment. So 15.8, Rapez, we've also got an NDB 345, which is active from the practice sector. ADF, and ADF is selected. We'll brief this all fully, I just want to get everything tuned. So 096 is the final approach course. So we need to apply the circling minima. So if we go down here, you'll see you have the LPV Cat 1 approach, LNAV VNAV, or LNAV minima. So my operator, we don't have approved for LPV. We do have for LNAV VNAV. So if we were flying straight into land on 10, we'd set 794. But we're
40,
circling.
30, 20, 10.
Thanks, Kator. What have I done here? Check the descent wind and the fixed rings. Uh-oh.
Check the descent winds and the fixed rings.
Runway 10, 10-4. Runway 28, 4.2. What have I done? Descent winds. Fixed rings look okay. If I got the winds in wrong. .267 at 36, 271 at 33, 270 at 36, okay, 34. Is that it? Just the the 2 dots difference? Well, I suppose it is incorrect, but I can satisfy you. I can tell you with satisfaction it wouldn't make any issues there. But the fixed rings looked okay. Kato, are you not getting confused with the fact that we have runway 10, but I also put one in for 28? This is the circling minima. This is what we actually do, as I was explaining. So, but thank you for your donation. I think you might. The winds are wrong by 2 dots, but these are the rings we use during the circle there. Anyway, let's carry on. You threw me completely. Yes, the minimums for this approach. So circling is prohibited to the south of the runway. The reason is, if you look to the south, there's a bit of terrain here, so we want to be circling to the north in the valley. Keeping away from the hills there. So we're in a Cat C aircraft. Do we have the local altimeter setting? We do. We have the QNH, so we can use the lower minimum of 1320. So when you're circling, you can't go below this height, but what we do at my operator, we actually round this up to the nearest 100 feet. So that would be 1400. So what we're going to do here is go to the minimums and set 1400, because we utilise the automation, and the autopilot, you can only set your height on the MCP to the nearest 100 feet. So we'll be flying the circling approach at 1400. Now, importantly, check the RVR. It's a lot higher. The visibility required, 2,400 meters. So it was 8,000 meters, and that'll be the rain, unfortunately. So that's all looking good. Should the lower DU be blagged? It should be. Yes, we were checking the fuel earlier. I forgot to blag it there. Look at you guys, all very. You guys always one little thing I forget, and you always floated too soon. Forgot the wind by 2 knots. I love it though. I love it. Sharklands Racing. What's the formula for fixed rings which nearly intersect the route at the top of descent? Times your height by 3. So 37 times 3
50,
is
40,
111.
30, 20, 10.
Thank you, Danny Rubol, for the £2. Says, hi, Captain. Just joined. Excited for the approach and landing. Thank you very much. I'm excited to see how well this potentially doesn't go. It could be interesting, though. But thank you very much for your donation. Very kind. Right, minimums. And we preset the QNH as well. Course is a 096. And there's no frequencies to tune, guys. It's an RNAV approach. MSA to the north is 6,000. To the south, very high. So you can see why we circle to the north. So, what does it mean by circling to the north? Well, from an operational point of view, it's actually going to be the first officer that flies this approach, because when we break left, he's the one that's going to have to see the runway. So it's flown by the right-hand seat for this circle there. We don't have EGNOS or any way to tune a channel there. And landing on runway 28 then, 2,000 metres. Now it is short, it is wet, beyond the threshold 1900, but we have got a strong headwind. We'll look at the landing performance shortly. But what I'm going to do now is talk about how we're going to fly this circling approach. So we're coming in via Gaillac on this arrival, via Rapez, which is the initial approach fix for Carcassonne, and that's going to take us right onto the extended sense line, and we must be at or above 4,500 feet. So if I go to the legs page, plan, go to Rapez, you can see we have 4,500 feet, and that is coded. Now, what's going to happen on this approach here, remember that wind is really strong, and the 737, even with no headwind component, it can be quite slippy on the approach. We're going to probably have 20-30 knot tailwind down this approach here, and airports like this, it's very important that you get the aircraft configured to nice and slow before that turn to ensure that you can manage the speed, because if you get to 10 miles, you're doing 220 knots and clean, you won't get in. It is impossible with a 30 knot tailwind. So 220 knots at 10 miles on the 3.5, I think it's 3.5 degree path, you're going to really struggle to get on this approach there. Is it 3.5 or 3? No, it's 3 degrees, but you're still going to struggle anyway. So, via Rapez, we'll route direct to India Mike Kilo 10. India Mike Kilo 10 is here. That is the final approach fix. No, it's not. Foxtrot Mike Kilo 10 is the final approach fix. So, what we're going to do here, 2 miles before approaching the final approach fix, which is here, we're going to ensure we have 1,400 feet set on the MCP, and we have LNAV and VNAV engaged with the speed window open. Passing Foxtrot Mike Kilo 10, which is the final approach fix, will start descending on the profile. The pilot monitoring would be reading the altitude against the distances, so there's no DME here. The distance is actually an RNAV base point off runway 10, so you'll be reading the distance here in the top right of the ND. And we'll keep descending down until we get to the minimums. Now remember, this is a circling approach, so I'm not going to disconnect and land on runway 10. We can't. We've got a 30 knot tailwind, so we need to perform the circle to land manoeuvre, which moves me onto my little diagram I made. So you have 2 ways of viewing this. I'll keep it open now during the briefing, or if you go over to my Instagram, you will see I have this on my Instagram story at the moment for this particular stream. So what's going to happen? We're going to approach the circling minima of 1,400 feet. The aircraft is going to go from out acquire to out hold. Oops, I pressed the heading select there. Wait until out hold is on the FMA. We don't do anything until out hold displays. When out hold is displayed, we set the missed approach altitude, which is 3,500 feet. We engage heading select, and then we make a left turn downwind 45 degrees off the runway QDM. So the runway QDM is 096, the same as the final approach track, and we want to maintain a track of 051. Now bear in mind, we're going to have a strong tailwind, wind coming in from the west in this situation here. So we need to make sure that we track 051, so I'll probably set a heading 4 or 5 degrees left of that to maintain a track of 051. And when the wings are level, we start a timer for 20 seconds, okay? And we go outbound for 20 seconds, minus half the tailwind component. So what we'll do for this circling approach, we'll bring up progress page 2, which shows you your headwind and tailwind component of 737. We'll have a look at the tailwind. Let's imagine the tailwind is 10 knots. We take half of that, which is 5 knots, and we subtract that from the 20-second time. It's always 20 seconds still wind, minus half the tailwind or headwind component. If it's a headwind, you shouldn't be circling, but if it was, you'd actually add time. But let's say it's a 10 knot tailwind on 051, halve it, that's 5, take off 20, it's 15 seconds. After 15 seconds at point C, we make a right turn, heading select, still to track at 096. So if I go to the plan page, I'll show you where we are on this approach. There we are, we've just broken off. Now, it's important you don't use LNAV for these particular approaches, because it'll just sequence straight to the missed approach point. So that's why it's important to ignore what LNAV's doing and what the magenta line is at this stage. Max, are there 20 seconds for a certain speed? No, it's always 20 seconds, always 20 seconds. So once we turn right, we'll then go outbound. Now, what I'm going to do is, you'll notice being the landing runway there's a red line. We can increase our situation awareness by going to the landing runway and putting the fix page here, runway 28, a 90-degree green line to increase situation awareness and when we're downwind. So the runway QDM is 096. If we subtract 90 off that, it's going to give us a rating of 006. So if I step through it now, you'll see, there we are, there's a green dashed line, which is when we're going to be abeam the landing runway. Now this is where it can differ on approaches. You'll see I have a timing of 29 seconds, so how did I actually come to that time? Okay, so 29 seconds. If I go back to the chart here, here's the minimums for the circling approach. So remember that minimums we set 1320, but I've added 80 feet to that to round it up to 1400. Now what I'm interested is this. This is the height above the ground whilst we're circling. So remember, we're going to be maintaining 1400 feet. So if I was maintaining 1320 feet, we'd be flying 886 feet, but I need to add 80 feet because we're flying at 1400. Does that make sense? So we'll be at 1400, so we're not going to be 886 feet above the ground, we'll be another 80 feet above it, and that is 966, okay? So when we're maintaining 400 feet, we're going to be 966 feet above the ground. All you need to do with this figure is times it by 3, okay? So if you get 996 times it by 3, that comes to 28.98, okay? 2,898, but it's the 28 we're interested in. 28.98, we'll round it up. What is it? You've got it, it's 29 seconds, okay? So that's how I came to that. Remember, that is 29 seconds in still wind conditions. So what are we going to have today? It's an absolute beast of a tailwind, okay? Let's imagine we've got a 20-knot tailwind, okay? Still the same applies as it would do at this procedure here. We take half the tailwind component, so if it's a 20-knot tailwind, that would be 10 knots, okay? And then we subtract 10 knots from 29, so that would be 19 seconds that we'd go downwind, okay? Because we've got that massive tailwind pushing us, and then as we turn final, we'll be, during this entire approach, configured to gear down to flat 15. Once we get to delta, we'll set the runway heading, which is 276, we'll select flat 40, and then we'll complete the landing checklist. And when you come round the turn here, I'll be having my head down here because the FO will be flying it. We're looking for the runway, looking for the pappies, okay? And the pappies we're looking for is 2 reds, 2 whites. Now if you come round the corner and you see you have 4 reds, leave the automation in, maintain the circling altitude until you sort of see 3 reds. Once you see 3 reds or 2 reds, 2 whites, disconnect the autopilot, recycle the flight directors, set a suitable target altitude, which would be around 0 degrees, and a target N1 around 60% for flat 40, start descending. If you come around the corner, you see 2 reds, 2 whites, or 3 whites, or even 4 whites, disconnect and start descending straight away because you'll easily get yourself high. Especially as, if you look here into Carcassonne, the pappy angle, I believe, for runway 28 is 3.5 degrees. I think it's 3.5 degrees. Which is simulated in X-Plane 11. So, that's runway 10 on the airport chart. There we are. Pappy angle, runway 28, 3.5 degrees. So if you get high, if you get 4 whites, you'll be in trouble on this approach because you're going to have to set quite a high rate of descent to be able to recover that approach angle. So probably a rate of descent around 900 to 1,000 feet per minute really needed to stay on this approach profile there. Why do you recycle the flight directors? That's because once we've disconnected and started circling here, the automation's all over the place. We're going to have the runway heading and the missed approach altitude set. So the flight directors are not going to be providing guidance we want to be able to land this aircraft. So we recycle them, which means that when we go around, Toga's available and the flight director guidance, but it'll also stay on as well once we get to out acquire and out hold as well. So there we go. That's how we will do it, okay? I hope that was a reasonably thorough explanation and all understood. So landing performance then, runway 28, let's have a look here at the landing performance calculator, which is here. Runway 28, what's the latest steady headwind component? Oh, this is not going to be good, is it? Oh my goodness, it's just dropped right off, guys. It's now 270 knots. I'll take it. Let's call it 270 It's not going to be any less than that. Outside air temperature is 13 degrees. Flat 40, 1013. So landing weights, we're arriving 3.7. We need 2 tons to get to Toulouse. 600 kilos to burn. Landing weight's going to be 60.7. 60.7. Look at that. Flat 40 order brake 3 is fine. Now, just because I'd be using order brake 3 in real life because I need to go to the end to do a 180 and backtrack, so I don't want to brake any sooner. But because of X-Plane 11's braking action in wet conditions, I'm going to use order brake max. Okay, flat 40 and order brake set, max reverse thrust as well. Right, and there you go. Briefing complete. Top of descent. Right on top of us as well. There's no VATSIM, guys, so what I'll do, I'll now start our descent into Carcassonne. So let's have a look here at the descent. Our first restriction is 4,500, so let's go down, let's just go down to 80 initially. We'll set that now, and then VNAV will automatically start descending at the top of descent there. There we are, top of descent in chat. I hope that's all made sense as well, the briefing there. That's how I'd fly this approach in real life. We then complete a checklist called a double briefing, which just ensures that we're both happy, both pilot flying and pilot monitoring, how the approach is going to be flown. The landing gate's a little bit lower for a circling approach, just to get the aircraft kind of established on your final approach track. So we have to be fully stable by 300 feet, not by 500. But the idea is obviously to be stable for the entirety of that approach there. That's it. The only thing I need to brief is the missed approach. Now, missed approaches off a circle can vary depending on where you are, and also the design of the missed approach track. So, straightforward one is if we get to the circling minimums of the published approach, we fly the published missed approach for the approach flown. If we're downwind and we lose the runway, or if we get into IMC, we just have to turn towards the landing runway and fly the published missed approach. And again, the trickiest one is if you touch down here. Okay, it depends on the design of the missed approach. So if the missed approach just climbs straight ahead over in this direction, what you do, you'd go around, let's imagine I balls the landing up, excuse my language, and then I would climb straight up to the circling minima, which is, in this case, 1,400 feet, and then I make a right turn on the circling side to establish ourselves on the missed approach track. However, look at this missed approach. It's climbed straight ahead to this waypoint, make a left turn to hold at Charlie Sierra. So if I was actually to do a bulk landing and go around, I'd just climb straight ahead on the approach being flown to enter the hold here at Charlie Sierra. That's the way I'd be doing it, because there's no point making a turn to then do another turn to go outbound here, and obviously there's no radar here, so it's quite dangerous to advise ATC or tell them, you know, in the event of a missed approach here, what do you want us to do? Yes, fly straight to Charlie Sierra or Mike Kilo 402 and fly another approach, but just bear in mind the MSA, you want to be staying above the circuit minimum times and get above the MSA or the missed approach altitude. Cool, so that's it. Was that the technical terms of Andy? Absolutely, absolutely. Right, anyway, there's only one way to find out what's going to happen, and that's to give it a go. Down we go. So, no VATSIM here, so what I might do, guys, is actually pop off offline, because it's a procedural approach anyway. You know, there's no benefit to having ATC. All they're going to say is, yeah, clear to land, fly the procedural approach. They're not going to vector us or anything like that. So there's only one other aircraft behind, and there's no ATC, so I'll pop offline. Very quiet on the network today. There we are. Matt Osborne, for the 20 seconds, what if you have a tailwind of 40 knots? Well, half that is 20, so yeah, you'd basically make a slight left turn and then a slight right. You know, that's what I'd be doing. That's pretty strong, but yeah. I'd wait until wings are level. So you make your left turn there, Danny. As soon as the wings level, start your timing, and then as soon as the time started, just make that right turn downwind. If it's above that, it's going to be very interesting. Very, very cool. So VNAV's doing a good job. This, remember, is 349 release candidate version of the ZIBO mod. I don't think it's public at the moment, but it'll be made public imminently. I tested it earlier. It's pretty much been faultless. Danny, is there a difference between max brake and RTO? Well, RTO you're only going to use for takeoff, but that will apply max braking. nothing, even max auto brake. RTO is pretty much as you'll ever get, but max auto brake here, so max auto brake isn't the maximum braking available to you. The maximum braking available to you is if you simply, on the pedals, you stand up on them. That's max manual braking, which is beyond what maximum auto brake is, and that should be on the performance calculator depicted. So you can see, like, max manual and max auto. So that's literally, you stood up on your seat and pushed those brakes as hard as you could. That's how quickly the aircraft would stop. Now bear in mind, that's on a dry runway actually, so let's have a look at a wet runway, which would be interesting. There you go, look, Water Brake 3, you can see how the performance decreases. But unfortunately, X-Plane 11's physics and the way it simulates a wet runway is ice rinky, let's say. Miles, I'm looking to Manchester midweek madness. Anyone know a group doing the same routes? Not that I know of. It's something I did consider doing this evening, but I thought, no, a circle to land would be far more entertaining for my viewers. Todd, max manual equals rip brake discs. Yes, from a 60-ton aircraft, from using max manual braking to taxi speeds, you're gonna possibly melt the fuse plugs. But yeah, I've never had to use max manual braking ever. But if you need to stop, absolutely it's available. If you feel there's a risk the aircraft's going to overrun, even whilst taxiing, guys, you can use reverse thrust. If the taxiway's skidding, you start skidding or braking and it's not stopping, you use reverse thrust. There's no limitation. Obviously, there's a risk that you'll ingest some FOD, but rather that than putting my nose wheel on the grass. John Padfield, let's put some soft pillows in the air of the runway. Around 20,000 should do the trick. Don't get Richard Hammond to do it. Remember that Top Gear episode where they did the ski jump and he put the barrier to stop the Mini Cooper off the ski jump on the wrong ski ramp? To be fair, there's only one runway here. Actually, no, there's two runways, the grass one. You should know that we don't land on grass. Todd, absolutely the lesser of two evils regarding reverse thrust and going off the end of the taxiway. Miles Peacock, no worries, my second time doing a midweek madness. Last week I did Gatwick and it was very busy. There are about 15 of us waiting to part. I should try one of our group flights. I think the most we've ever had is about 40. But we've group flights now of our size on our channel where we have 60-70 aircraft. We have to split them up, so we often do crossfire events. Or our last members group flight, we actually split up into 3 groups flying all into the same airport, and that was fantastically managed by... Was it Denver? Denver, wasn't it? Not Dallas. I always get my Denvers and Dallas mixed up. A jumper run. Oh, we don't land on the grass. Yes, top tip for this day. Don't land on the grass in the 737. Snow the Gamer. No, don't land the 737 in grass. It'll snap the landing gear off. In East Midlands Airport, a 737-400, I think it was TNT, they went around below minimums or something. I can't remember exactly what happened, but their main gear hit the grass and it ripped the gear off, I think. And then they diverted, I think, to either Manchester or Birmingham, and landed there with one of the gear missing. Andy. Miles, I assume I become a channel member if I want to take part in a group flight. Sounds cool. Absolutely. Miles, yeah, we do the members group flights each month, which is I stream exclusively to members.
50,
but if
40,
you ever want to join me on a
30,
live stream, that's fine
20,
by me. Sometimes we
10.
have 10, 15 aircraft joining. Just make sure you're courteous on that. Thanks, Steve.
Evening, boss.
Hello.
Must admit I'm looking forward to this landing.
Uh-oh.
Good luck.
Thank you very much, Steve. I'll need all the luck we can get today. Now, as per usual, I will be respecting the stabilised approach criteria on the first approach. this is just me in the sim, remember, speaking. We'd always respect the stabilised approach criteria, but there are some limitations in desktop simulators, like where on earth is the runway when I'm looking here, moving my mouse around. But we'll see how we get on the first approach, if we have to go around, what the reason was. Maybe I might apply a little bit more leniency on the second, we'll see. Or we'll end up going to Toulouse. But that is not the cavalier attitude we take on the line if we stabilise the approach criteria respected, regardless if it's the second approach. Now, my operator, we can only make a third approach if the limiting factor's halved. So, for example, if the crosswind was 40 knots, on limits would be 30 knots, but if you have to wait until it drops below 15 to make that third approach, or if the visibility was close to minimums, we need it to double for that third one as well. Otherwise, we divert. But in those situations, we take plenty of fuel whenever there's a weather limitation or forecast or is approaching limits.
50, 40.
Steve, do it in the
30,
FOC. You know what? That actually
20,
might not be a bad idea
10.
for that. Thank you very much, Piranha72, for the $5.
Great stream.
Thank you very much. So glad you're enjoying that all the way stateside, and I guess either good morning or good afternoon to you. Right, anyway, we will perhaps jump into Jim's seat for this. Let's have a little bit of engine anti-ice coming on soon, I think. Yes, approaching top of clouds. So we'll switch to that little chart later on, but here we are on the Gaiac 3. There's no DME here. I swear this VR has DME. 42.6, pretty sure it does. Anyway, approaching Rapez, what we'll do now is start descending to 4,500 feet. Imagine Toulouse radar, who to be talking to at the moment, has cleared us down. So that's set. We'll set the QNH 1013, passing 11,700 for 4,500 feet, and got no air flags or issues. Standby altimeter is also set. Danny, a video on YouTube where Boeing tested the 747 MAX load and rejected takeoff of V1. What an inertia that thing has. Rip the gears, but it's amazing it can handle it. Yes, I know that video you're talking about here. The brakes are capable of absorbing a phenomenal amount of energy. And in that situation, yeah, if you have a max takeoff weight 747, which I believe is around £1 million gross weight, and you stop at V1, and I think for the regulatory requirement, they have to do that rejected takeoff without reverse thrust, which also increases the brakes considerably, the temperature of the brakes there. That's going to be causing those issues. But yeah, I think in that situation, the fuse plugs melt, the tyres deflate. PG, what is DME? It stands for Distance Measuring Equipment. It's basically your range from a station. Alright, anyway, look. VNAV has slowed us down to 250 knots. Done that a little bit early, but look at the way it's actually managed the profile to make that restriction and maintain 250. We'll do the post-cruise checks now. So fuel, we have 4 pumps,
50,
4
40,
to on board,
30,
lights
20,
coming on.
10.
Angular bank set to 25 degrees. Thank you, Littermen.
Also, Alpaca Airline is nice to see. Special the Japan group flight.
Oh.
Greetings from Enschede, the Netherlands.
From where in Netherlands? And little man, thank you very much, Napalm 57 from Enschede in the Netherlands. Oh, I can't pronounce that. Nice job at learning every time. Thank you very much, Littermen. Well, thank you very much, and I hope you're doing well over in Holland. And special the Japan group flight. Yes, we did go to Japan. That was very, very special. My territory, that is. Thank you very much for your donation there. Right, so let's finish this. Engine anti-ice on, pressurization 3.0 set. Engine anti-ice on. We should have done that earlier, but that's done. Recall, checks complete. So, approaching Rapez. Next point is the decel point to start slowing us nice and early for the approach. Now, look at that. Oh, don't look at that. Look at that tailwind. So, 31 knots. I need to get some flaps out prior to Rapez. So, it looks like VNAV is planning to have us at Rapez at 200 knots. That's fine. As we decel, I'll start bringing the flaps out, because if you don't, by the time you get established on final there, the speed's only going in one direction and it's up here. Bye bye. Thank you very much to Lemon Pillow 720. I think I've seen you around here already in chat, so thank you very much for becoming a member. And glad you are really enjoying the content. And into the members only Discord, you get invited and enjoy those custom emojis on the chat as well. Thank you very much. Excellent. So, looking good. Approaching the decel point. Speed's pretty much where we like it to be. And yes. Where is that save flight feature, ZIBO? Okay. Not that I have confidence in my sim, but it works really well now, that feature, guys. It reloads the aircraft's configuration, the speed, very nicely. I might do a little video on it to show everyone. Anyway, here comes the decel point on the ND. The wind is still pretty strong, but it's not gusting up to 50 at least. Praise the Lord. So there's the decel point. Just notice that it's moving down smoothly. Usually it's sort of a bit more blocky. It kind of goes down in little increments, but no, here it comes. Might just use a little bit of speed brake to help her out here, because this is going to hurt us on approach. This is going to really hurt us. Now, when I started flying the 737, like with all cadets 10 years ago, one thing that's not really taken into account, or what you realise, is the wind. Tailwind on approach in this aircraft can really hurt your performance, as in you can't slow down, so you've got to be very aware of this, especially at higher altitudes. It can be much stronger than it is on the ground. Takes 2 tons. Right, anyway, looking good. So what I'm going to do now, imagine we've been handed over to, from Toulouse, they've cleared us to descend to 3,500 feet and cleared for the RNAV RNP 10 approach, and then we've been told to contact Carcassonne Tower. Carcassonne Tower is a procedural airport here. They've got no radar, so they're very much reliant on telling us, or us telling them where we are. So we're overhead Rapez, we're overhead Charlie Sierra. Okay, based on that, clear to land, or please slow down your approach. There you go. Right, so what I'm going to do prior to turning final is select flap 1. We'll open the speed window, and it will stay in VNAV path, and this is because of this tailwind. So I'm just going to sort of demonstrate to you what will happen if you don't get the aircraft configured. Now, the nav seems to be descending very shallowly at the moment. We should be going down a little bit quicker. Turn off engine anti-ice as well. Turn off the music. Approach checklist, we'll imagine, is done. There's no nav aids we're using, but we have the courses, the minimums set. Range rings are in, all looking good. So there's flap 1. Now I think on the test sector this earlier, sort of did a bit of a shallow profile, then it started descending on the 3-degree glide path. It is 3 degrees here, so that is correct. So you'll see the speed has come back, but look at that 25 knot tailwind. Now I am going to go flap 5 because it's going to start descending quite quickly now, but just to show you, even with flap 5, how it might struggle to maintain the target speed. It will start descending quicker. There it goes, I think, now. He says. Yeah, why is that not descending at 3 degrees? It's very shallow at the moment. Should be a bit steeper. Anyway, that's not a bad thing. We're maintaining... So we'll speed up to 180 just because I want to demonstrate how tailwind can hurt you. I think this happened on the test sector. So usually VNAV, it'll do a bit more of an efficient descent to keep the thrust at idle. But now it's pretty much leveled off. Now it's going down. So see how it's descending? Look at the VNAV path going. So what I'm going to do is go idle thrust, bring the speed back to the flat 5 speed. Now watch what happens. The thrust is going to come back to idle. There's idle thrust. And look at this blinking amber light. This amber light's telling me, look, I'm the auto throttle on this 737. You want me to maintain 166 knots? Can't do it. You're accelerating. So that's because of this 20 knot tailwind. Look, flap 5.
1,000 to go.
1,000 feet to go is checked, and we're approaching descent. So look, it's not slowing down. So what would we use? Flap 10, and also you can use speed brake, but flap 10 should be enough. Right, 2 miles from the final approach fix. So we can now set 1,400 feet. We verify we have VNAV path, speed windows open, and I'll just mute the alerts as well, guys. There we go. So imagine Carcassonne Tower, we've checked in. Okay, Alpaca 1-2 Charlie Foxtrot. You're cleared for the RNAV approach runway 10. Cool braking left for the circle to land onto runway 28. So we're waiting now for the final approach fix, which is here, 9.5 DME, well not DME, 9.5 off here. So as soon as we get to the FAF, this will say 9.5, 9.4, there we are. So we verify the FAF, altitude 3,500 feet, and we have no flags, and that's checked. Next height check is at 8 miles. 8 miles, we need to be at 3,030 feet. Flap 10. Just about holding the speed there, idle. Ooh, it's running away. I might actually configure it a bit earlier here. So 8 miles, 3,030 feet, on profile, bang on. 7 miles, 2710. Where's the runway? There it is. So 7 miles, I need to be at 2,710 feet. So 7 miles, 2,710 feet. X-Plane 11 is just such a winner. It's everything is perfect. It literally is like being in the real thing. Right, so with that tailwind, I'm actually going to configure a little bit earlier. So gear down, flap 15, match speed, and we complete the landing checklist. So start switch is continuous. Recall is checked. Speed brakes armed. Landing gear down to green. Order brake is max, and then we will not. Not configure landing flap until we turn final, so we're going to stay in this configuration for the circle. Right, so we'll do one more height check. 5 miles, 2,080 feet, 5 miles, 2,060 on profile, and with that we'll now get rid of that chart just because I want to have as reference the circle diagram which I made, and if I was flying this in real life I'd have it jotted on a piece of paper on the control column clipboard here. So approaching the circling minima, 1,400 feet. Remember, do not do anything until you get out hold on the FMA. So you go VNAV path to out acquire and then out hold. Ah, look at the wind, guys. 26805. Gutted for all of you. Oh, it's gone out hold now. It did this on the test sector as well. You should go out acquire, so I'm just going to wait until the aircraft's leveled off.
Minimums.
Right, out hold. That looks level. So first thing, set the missed approach altitude, 3,500 feet. Heading select, remember that initial heading, of 051 degrees. And we want to have 20 seconds. Timing. So there we are, breaking away from the airport. That's the view from the runway threshold. Very quiet here, look. I'll do that on the replay though. So I've got a slight wind from the left, so I might just take a couple of degrees more just to maintain a track of 051. I want progress page 2. I'm going to get ready to start our timer when the winds are level. That'll do. So timing, so 20 seconds minus half a tailwind component. It's a 4-knot tailwind, so half of that is 2. We'll be on this track for 18 seconds. Just going to match my thrust up so when I disconnect it's sort of controllable. So, oops, oh, I was too busy looking at chat. Right, there's 18 seconds time's a little bit late, but not to worry. We'll now turn down wind 096. Of course, sorry, this should be being flown from this seat. This is Jim Circle, remember? And there is the runway. We need to wait now until we're abeam. So, winds, we go 097 to fly 096. So we'll reset that timer. We're going to now wait until we are abeam the runway. We've got that dash line to help assist us. We can also look outside. Alright, Jim says we're now abeam now, so we'll start the timer. There we are, timer. So remember, 29 seconds minus half a tailwind component, progress page 2. We've got a 5-knot tailwind. Let's call that 2 knots, okay? 2 knots from 29, 2 seconds, 27 seconds. We're going to go on this heading. So here we go, 28 seconds, we'll set runway heading, which is 276, and this is exactly how I'll be flying it in real life. Select flat 40, fly 162 knots, set the speed, and we just need to complete the landing checklist. This is where it gets very hard in a desktop sim. So flaps, we have 40-40 green lights. Lights are on, we've been cleared to land. Checklist is complete. So Jim is flying this approach. He is cranking his head round looking for the pappies for the runway. There is the runway. In X-Plane 11, the pappies, you probably see them at this stage, but you have to really wait until you're a little bit closer on final. And keep an eye on that trend vector. Look at that, it's beautiful. Keep an eye on that trend vector. You can alter your angle of bank to make sure it rolls out on final. I think is a good time now to disconnect. Autopilot and auto throttle. Recycle the flight directors. And don't forget to reduce that target thrust to your target N1. And now I'm just going to have to sort of hope that when I turn final, 3 reds. Okay, not bad at all. Very happy. So we'll just arrest that rate of descent slightly just to get 2 whites, 2 reds. Beautiful. Now, target rate of descent. Keep the horizon on the attitude. It's going to be around 1,000 feet per minute. Very, very nice. Looking good. That's it. Hopefully the wind won't suddenly change the sim and give me something nasty. But fully stable. Remember the landing gate we use for a circle is 300 feet above the ground. And we're into that headwind now. And just keep it at 2 reds, 2 whites all the way. The pappies are a little bit steeper here as well.
300.
Checked. Looking good. The pappy angle looking very nice all the way down. Speed's good.
200.
Keeping on the centre line.
100.
Tad high, but don't worry at this stage.
50. 40. 30.
Check.
20.
Close.
10.
Just hold the attitude and pray for a butter. Yes! Speed brakes up. Reverses. I'm happy we don't need max auto brake. Runway's not wet in X-Plane 11, so disengaging the brakes. 100 knots.
80 knots.
80 knots. And here comes 60 knots side reverse. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Carcassonne. Beautiful. Went perfectly. Excellent. So all the way to the end here, and then we'll do a 180 backtrack and taxi, vacate onto stand. Naughty float. How many seconds float was it? Something I don't really go for, but you guys, if I don't get it, I just get berated for hours afterwards. Right, flaps up, speed brakes up. Jim will start doing the cleanup. There's our 180. That worked out really nice. Oh, there's the rivet gun, or whatever that sound is. ZIBO seems to think it's correct, but I don't like it. Right, we'll taxi in now. We'll do the rest of the cleanup. So here in Carcassonne, the taxiways, there's a taxiway here off to the right, but it's a little bit narrow. For a 737, it's a little bit too narrow to taxi on. So we'll be going past Alpha, vacating off at Charlie. Alpha and Bravo are too narrow for us to vacate. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I'll put a little taxi music back on as well. Beautiful. Yeah, just gateway scenery here. Someone's definitely done some work here, though. It looks like they've got some nice buildings looking good. Superb. Thanks a lot, Danny, for the £2 donation.
40,
Here comes the next right.
30,
We'll
20,
carry on here.
10.
The rest of the cleanup out on. Break off. Danny, what did you have to say? Let me just carry on with the old cleanup here. I'm not paying attention. Look. Is that Bravo? No, it's going to be Charlie. Second. Right there. Thank you very much, Danny. You said, what a approach, just everything was perfect. Well, it was okay, to be fair. Amazing the Sim and ZIBO could do this kind of complicated approach. So should be a really cool replay. Yes. Would you guys like me to do a replay from the threshold, or the tower at least? That'll look pretty cool, won't it? Yeah, very happy with how that went. ZIBO, the mod, behaved perfectly. And yeah, I did okay. Thankfully, the winds weren't quite as strong as forecast, but they went all the way, all over the place there. Right, here's Charlie. About to vacate the runway so we can turn the landing lights off. Wouldn't do it this early, but just in the sim it's a little bit easier. And APU start. Have I gone past Charlie? Yes, I have. I was too busy trying to do the cleanup. Ugh, just about making that okay. Nothing to see here. Oh, the sounds turned right down. Beautiful. It's a very small airport here, small tight apron. We'll vacate here at Charlie. Let's go for park over here. Now these are all self-manoeuvring stands, so they're quite tight to manoeuvre on, so we'll give it a go. Turn off the weather radar, and there we go. Plenty of room, absolutely. Dad, you think you donated twice? Oh, sorry buddy. Thank you very much though. Yeah, so very happy to have gotten that off. It's been ages since we've done some circles sort of like into Innsbruck and some other sort of procedural circles, but it's been a very long time since I've demonstrated like how we do a circle based off our operators SOPs. I think the last time we did that was into, it was one of my earlier streams. We went to another French destination. I can't remember where, but it's been a very long time since we've done it. Right, let's take stand Charlie 2. So there's a slight issue with the scenery here. It's a bit of an up ramp, but self-manoeuvring stands like this are always quite tricky to land on here. Sorry, to taxi onto here, especially if they go up like this. That's a bit unrealistic, but we'll try our best. So you've got to be sort of, don't shy away from the wall, but you want to not obviously. Oh my days, what are you doing, Hubert? And obviously because it's massively uphill here, unrealistic, I'm having to use way too much thrust. There we are, and you'd have a marshaller guiding you in here, so Jim would be giving me back information saying, yeah, he's saying go forward, go straight on. Oh, come on. Because it's uphill, I'm really struggling. There we go. What part of RAM didn't you understand? I know. There we go, something like that. Check it out once I've parked here. So the nose wheel is pretty much on the line at the moment. If I show you, there you are, pop my head down, but the marshaller would be kind of pointing us in the right direction, something like that. And now we're pointing downhill, 5 degrees nose down. Let's see how bad that was. Not bad, a little bit off the line there. Right, AP's available, pop that on the bus. 2 blues, 1 red, engine's dead. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome for the first ever time to Carcassonne. That comes off at 20% N2, but we'll do it now. And I think I've done everything else on the cleanup. Beautiful. What a lovely sector that was. That's going to be a cool replay. And then on the last replay, I'll put you in the passenger view on the right hand side, so you can hopefully see the full circle from that perspective. Let's have a look at some of the comments there. I was very busy on the circle, so I wasn't too busy looking at there. Bob Dylan said, wow, amazing. I bet some people probably thought I was going to land on 1-0 and not do that circle to land. Where are my promised gusts, said Listerman. Yeah, I know. I guess the weather, I mean, I haven't turned anything off or on here, but maybe that was just a temporary little gust of wind there. But no, if you actually look at the wind, it is 2705 here. And I'm guessing the tempo wind, it doesn't take into account here. But right now, the weather's updated to show a rain at 4,800 metres. I got lucky there, I guess. Thanks, Steve. Excellent boss. Lovely demonstration. Cheers, buddy. Thanks a lot, Miles Peacock, for your kind words as well. Thank you, Hakan. Nice approach and landing, said PG. Yeah, went out very well. David Moore said, thank goodness as the butter was nearly stale. My oh my. Amazing. Listerman, 1 out of 10 would never fly again. Where was my hurricane? Unbelievable. Well, it's nice to be done at 6:50 on Xbox Live. Usually these streams are going on for quite a while, but no, it was very nice. We've got a little bit of ATC coming out of Bristol here. And yeah, let's look at the replay, I guess. So we'll turn that down here, and we'll leave it in the turnaround state. I've got to turn my lights off. And cue the funky replay music. Turn that down. Where is it? Beautiful. Right, so let's have a look here. Now, actually, just before I do that, let's save it because I quite liked it. Oh no, if it crashes, I won't be able to do replay anyway. Right, so if we have a look from here, this is the threshold of runway 10. So if you're looking from this direction, this is what it would look like. There's us braking off to the left. Here's the view from tower. Speed it up a little bit. There we are. After our 20-second timing, we're braking downwind. There's downwind. Sort of like a visual circuit, but this is a circuit approach. Turn music down. It's slightly too much funk for me right now. There we are. Let's turn off fly live as well. We don't need that. So yeah, nice views downwind here. I'm sure many people have seen this particular approach. Oh, look at there's the visibility. The weather's just changed. In active sky. How lucky was I? So yeah, that's actually really, it's okay, but you've got to keep the runway in sight at all times. I mean, the minimum RVR required is 2,400 meters, and right now it's 4,800. Cool. I got really lucky. I swear on my life I didn't touch anything, guys. It's just how it's happened. That's close to sort of like going around. So there must be, I think there might be a lot of localized showers and things coming in, which it's not very well depicted by desktop simulators. There we are, turning final. Yeah, but you could just see, we're in the tower here, and you'd just be able to see the airport. It's right close to the minimum RVR required to perform the manoeuvre. There we are. And turning final. Active Sky's rigged, I know. I paid the devs a few quid just to make sure they delayed the weather update. The atmospheric effects are cool. Not sure about the bits on the gear, but the wing's pretty nice. There's the check. Yeah, checked a little bit high, maybe 10 feet too high. Just held the attitude. Oh, the reverser effects of the rain's awesome. God, it was dry when I did it though. Let's have a look from the thresholds. We're around where we touched down about there. That should do us nicely. Music's too loud. Is that a bit better? I've turned it down there, Scarlett. Superb. Right, well, there's only one view you can really do for that one. It's going to be, I'm trying to think, this view, yes, because we can see the airport. So what I'll do, I'll put you downwind so you can sort of enjoy the final turn into Carcassonne and enjoy the touchdown as well, whilst I thank the weather gods for not updating their weather until after landing. That was absolutely fantastic of them. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the circle to land approach. We'll look into doing some more of these in the future for sure. Loads of airports you can apply this procedure to. So yeah, I hope you can refer it, and I explain the technique you need to use to work out your timings as well. So yeah, try out some other airports and see if you can do some circles lands into those respective airports as well. As ever, to everyone donated, thank you so much for your contributions. To all the members, thank you so much for the continued support, and all my regular viewers, thank you so much for popping in for another live stream on the way out. As ever, do me a big favour, smash the thumbs up button, subscribe if you want to stay up to date with the latest content, and I'll see you all live. I think I'm going to go live on Friday with this little stream I have planned for the Beluga and something else on the gaming channel, and I'll also be live on Saturday afternoon, got a members thing, and then Saturday evening I'll be racing on the Flight Deck Sim gaming channel, but I'll keep you all posted as ever on the social media feeds before I stream. As ever, stay safe, and I'll see you all on another Flight Deck live stream very soon. Bye bye for now.